house, everything. Yeah, it's crazy, but
Dude, get bad
how
stuff,
can you
man.
think that? Like, you go to school, you go to work, you buy a house, you get married, you have kids, and you get old and you die. Like, what more do you want to think about, right? Like, why would
Right.
like, no, I'm not going to believe that I live in a world where
Yeah, and you have a family.
and I all this crap. Nah, I just want to watch my sports, drink my beer, go to work, and enjoy myself. I mean, who wants to think about that anyways? This is the kind of shit you see on TV. That's the
True.
truth. Like,
It is
and
true.
how do you
Anybody hear
how do
me?
you process that? Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Anybody
You're
hear
on
me?
your own, and it's too rough if you're coming out on. If you're one of these
hear you.
professors, they all have families. They have people depending on them. You're not going to just give it up to go off for some rogue idea
Who's
to
gonna believe
basically
you?
lose
Like,
everything.
What do you mean
you
by
can't
lose
even
everything?
think about it. Like, you don't have time to think about it. You've got other more important things to think about, like your work, your
Can
research.
Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So you say
Who's
you're
gonna believe
saying you giving everything up. So how do you think humanity has progressed?
What do you
How do
I
you
mean?
don't think
think?
it
How do
has
you?
progressed.
So I mean, think
Just
about
like
all the
Rome,
things that we've created
just
as
like
a human
Rome
being.
was
But
not.
that's no
All the
Like
things
explanation.
we've
every
created.
Just because we have things that
civilization
have prospered doesn't
has
necessarily mean there aren't lies absolutely riddled in there. That's actually part of the lie. You're just falling on this whole notion. Oh yeah, since Wi-Fi has been created, therefore
Right,
the world's a globe.
That's
man.
No, that's not what I was talking about.
really
I've been
talking about
standing in the
technology.
street. I've been standing in the street showing somebody some like memes on my iPad while I've been discussing it with them, and they've went well, and their literal answer was, "Well, you've got an iPad in your hand, and you're saying that science hasn't advanced or something to that effect. That basically, because I've got an iPad, that must mean that the Earth's
You-
a ball."
Exactly. That's
Just
what
as
he
Oh,
is.
no
That's what they're
way.
insinuating.
That's
They are
just as
insinuating.
ridiculous,
Don't even
man.
act like you.
But you don't need to
Science is
know the
it's
shape
made
of the Earth
advancements.
to do your
Look at the
job.
wars. Look at all the wars that they've
Yeah.
caused, all the
So
money that's been
without
pumped into these fake wars
so
so they could advance all the technology. So it's nothing to do with
so
space, it's because
without
they've bombed the
science,
living daylights out of these countries all over the
That's the
world.
And that's another
what they
where would
mean.
we
pseudoscience
be
conspiracy is the money
without science?
system. That's just as
What they
Where
big.
would we
mean,
be?
90% of people don't know.
standing on the shoulders of Nikola Tesla, right? I mean,
Where would we
giants.
be without science?
Without Nikola Tesla, I don't
The
know.
Giants. We
I
want
have
the
no
Without
idea.
We
anybody,
want
not
the
just Nikola
Giants.
Tesla, without anybody who's done anything. Where would we
Like
be if
what?
we hadn't
Like who's done?
discovered
Like who
certain
are you
things?
talking about? Are you talking about who? Einstein? Are you talking about Edison?
Anyone who's
Talking about?
ever invented
Hey,
anything.
what's
Where would we
happening,
be without those
Does
guys?
people?
anyone have a
Even
last
here.
name though? Like anyone? What? What's his last name?
Who won the
It's
trivia
just because they've
yesterday?
got a white coat.
Hello, everyone.
Like,
What's
what
up,
do you think
Davidson?
all
Oh,
of
well,
that,
Yeah.
hold on, guys.
You
I
think
think
science,
Chris,
like
MXCL,
you think science is
LGBT.
something good, but it's not. I think science is a knowledge, is a system that you know that's bad. It develops bad things.
Where
I
would
mean,
we
we're
be
not really
without science?
using it to do
What's
any.
that got to do with the shape of the Earth, mate? That's the thing.
Right.
What's
It
it, what
doesn't
has
have
that got to
anything
do
to
with
do.
it?
We basically had this guy called Chris, and he's been like portraying his
Branch, Branch,
fucking
what are you talking
guy.
about, bro?
Hold on, Branch. Hey guys, we have a new member here, 8Bball4life. If you guys want to welcome him here, you
No,
just
it's
Alright,
B-ball for life.
What's up, April?
It's B-ball.
Hello. I also said hi, but
looks
nobody
like
gives a
8,
fuck.
man.
Hello, everyone.
Sorry, dude.
is it
It's okay.
b-ball?
It's okay.
All right.
Yeah.
The horde.
Hey, what's up?
Basketball.
You doing good, bro?
Hey, how's it going? How's it going? Took
Going
me a
good,
while
man.
to finally get in here, but what's
Oh,
up?
like
So
what's
you
up,
are you saying
people?
that? Are you saying that
So,
they had to find out that the Earth was a
Can
globe
anybody
for
hear
us
me?
to have like advanced in what we have? The Earth
I
has to be
mean,
a globe just because of that.
So, I mean, why
that's
can't
the
it be?
problem. That's the problem,
We're not
right?
saying
Why
that
does
it has
why
to
does
be,
the Earth
Fucking
have
this
to be
guy.
flat?
No.
but we're not saying that's not nothing to do
flat?
with the advancements in technology, man.
You know the one
Oh,
thing that I like to ask flat earthers is why is your information credible?
What
Why
are you
is
talking?
all the flat
Where
Earth-
is any,
all the
bro?
people
What
who
information
push
have you presented? Have you
all the
actually
all
presented?
the information
Bro,
that has been
bro,
pushed?
NASA,
All
no,
the
bro,
information has been pushed by flat earthers. Why
who's
is their
pushed
information
anything?
NASA is hard.
Who's actually
NASA's hard
pushed
to
anything?
believe because of their history of lying. So
Is
if
that
they are the
Lemonbird?
main ones purveying, if they are the
Lemonbird,
main
what's
ones
up,
purveying,
Lemonbird?
hey, what up? How you doing?
I'm
yeah,
good.
NASA. Yeah,
If NASA is the main one purveying the falsehood and they're, bad actors and lying, well, then their main body of evidence becomes suspect. If the lenses curve and add distortions and curvature, well, then that takes care of another body of evidence right there, possibly. So at that point, where is the 8 inches per mile squared of curvature, or where is
Yeah.
definitive evidence of curvature?
And this 80 inches per mile squared, where did that come from?
That came from a sphere of 25,000 miles in circumference. The geometry gives you approximately 8 inches per mile squared, yes.
Did that come from Eric Dubay?
What?
Dude,
That came from 2,000 years ago.
All flat earthers can all be traced back to one person.
anyways, no one.
Bro, it comes from Eratosthenes.
We can go over the derivation if you'd like. Right there, you have a pie slice with the radius on both sides of 24,901 miles in circumference. And there's a nice little angle in there, very small, with a little 1 mile curve at the top. To find the angle of that little 1 mile curved pie slice, you take 1 mile divided by the 24,901 miles in circumference and multiply that times 360 degrees to get 0.0145 degrees roughly. The cosine of that angle will be, you have two kind of triangles, a little top triangle and a little bottom triangle with most of the radius, but there's a little small triangle in the top with D1. That's a little bit of a small distance that you get when you shave off a little bit with that mile curve. So D1 plus D2 together will give you the radius of the Earth. The cosine of angle A in that bottom angle is D2 over 3,903 miles, which is the radius of the Earth. D2 then becomes the Earth radius minus D1, and the radius is 3,903 miles. And so now you can just substitute to find the 8 inches per mile squared. D1, as we said before, plus D2 equals R. A little rearranging gives you D1 equals R minus D2. Substitute in the radius for 3,903 minus D2 to get D1. 3,903 minus D2. D2 can be rearranged from the cosine of angle A equals D2 over 3,903 miles. When you rearrange that, you get D2 equal to 3,903 cosine angle A, and the angle for this 1 mile is 0.0145. So you just get the cosine of angle A in that fourth step down there, and that gives you 3,903 minus 3,903 cosine of 0.0145, which gives you roughly 0.0001 miles, which works out to 0.656 feet.
And you got Hawks all going straightened up there, I understand.
How about you put all that in a video?
And then that goes back to the equation of a circle, which is x squared plus y squared equals r squared. And so that x squared would be in miles for the circle of the Earth. So that's 7.8724 inches per x squared. And that equates to 0.8724 inches per mile. Approximately 8.
You guys bring up math.
That was the Pythagorean. So that was the Pythagorean theorem. That's like I think it's for 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, and sometimes even 5 or 6-year-olds may get it.
It's not.
So I mean, let me talk about triangles here. You know how if you take a large enough area on the Earth and you create a triangle, you do realize that the internal angles add up to more than 180 degrees, right?
No, because that's not the triangle on the surface of your imaginary ball.
Right, well,
Minecraft is the most popular game at the moment. So
I don't think you were paying attention. I think Lemon should explain it again.
About a globe.
That's not a triangle on the surface.
You're all talking over each other, man.
So many people talking.
I think those 8-year-olds are playing Minecraft, dude. Like, flat world and shit. Like, I don't know if the. I don't think they're looking
here's
at
funny.
balls and globes.
Well, here's the
This
thing.
guy
Lemon
goes-
laid out the math really. Well, he laid it
let me
out
ask
for
a
you
question.
guys. So if
Yeah.
math,
Let me ask a very
hold on.
And what's
What
wrong
Lemon
with
said,
that?
what
Yeah,
Lemon
You're
said was
saying
right
it's
too.
fifth grade
man.
math.
Too many people talking.
all right, hold on. I just
Can I ask
wanted
a
to say,
question?
Lemon laid it down for you guys. So that's the math.
Down the
So I mean,
stuff.
you asked if we stole it from Eric Dubay or if he actually did the math. So we obviously showed that he did the math, and that's what you got to realize. If math is reality in your reality, then the math shows that it's flat.
Yeah.
So the Earth is
And
flat.
So, math.
why would you
So
go
your
ahead
argument is
saying, "Oh,
math
that's
is
second
not
grade
reality?
math"? It doesn't matter.
Well, this is the way the geometry would work on a globe. So you get
Lemon,
approximately
Lemon
8
bird.
inches squared.
Take all that
Pretty sure.
math you just spewed. Hold on. Take all that math you just spewed. It's probably wonderful. Make a video, explain all of it. That way we can all see.
He
It
just
was
explained it
already
though.
explained in
But-
a video by
listen,
Ranty.
dude.
This is
Yeah.
where I
I
got
want
the
you.
math.
No.
But
I want you
I think
to
a
do
lot
it.
of, I think a lot of 8-year-olds when they eat cereal, right, and they look at the milk in the bowl, they kind of get it. You know what I mean? Like water.
Yeah, if
milk.
your mind
Yeah,
is that
listen,
simple.
the math that Lemon gave was pretty simple and pretty accurate, you know. I mean,
And that's a globe earther. So there you
Here's
go.
a question. Here's a
we
question.
can't really
What's
argue that.
wrong with simple math
Here's a
that is
really
accurate?
simple question.
B-ball, just
Here's
go
a
to
really simple
Metabunk.
question.
Go to the Metabunk
How do
calculator
we
and work it out
have-
yourself.
Hey
How
guys,
do
I
we
think
have
this is Bball4life is
stars
not here
rotating
to
at
hear
two opposite
really
ends of the
because
earth?
he's over speaking, you know, Lemon
I
when
know.
he's speaking.
I
So
know, man.
yeah, this
Well, he
is
can get
this is
muted
not
if he does that.
But you guys are aware that the 8 inches per mile squared is a tangent that talks about drop. It's not about hidden. You know, it goes straight
Right.
out.
You're right.
Tangent, and then it goes down.
Yeah, it's the
Right.
geometric
Doesn't
drop
take into
value.
account
Absolutely
the
correct.
Right. And it's often misused, grossly misused to give, oh, well, you know,
Yeah.
2,000 feet should be hidden, when in fact that's the
Yeah.
drop value.
Yeah, but that's a straw man because we're not misusing it. We know exactly.
I understand
Exactly.
that,
Between
but
hidden and
a
drop.
lot of people
So
do.
don't straw man us,
A lot of people do.
Okay, well,
I'm saying a lot of people misuse it.
Yeah,
But
I agree
in
with
our
you.
context, we're
But
using
we're
it
not.
perfectly.
Did they?
Chris, when you put a ruler on a ball, right, where that ruler touches the ball, we can say that's flat, right? And then where it stops touching the ruler, you know, that's what we're talking about. Like where is that? What do you call that?
Yeah, but 8 inches per mile squared doesn't take into account the observer height.
The ruler is flat, right? and then you put it on a ball. Okay?
Mhm.
The ball is the earth, and where it's touching, we can say that's flat. Say we're on that flat, that where the ruler is touching, and it's flat. And as we walk towards the horizon, following the straight line that's flat, eventually it's going to stop touching the ball, the ruler, and our flatness is going to stop being flat. You know, the straight line, tangent off of the earth.
I
And
know
just
what
make-
tangent is, yes.
Yeah. So that's what we're talking about. When it starts changing, right? The flatness starts changing and not parallel with this ruler. You know, that's what we're talking. I mean, come on.
Right.
Right. That's what we're talking
I was just pointing out that the 8 inches per mile squared is not, you know, it's dropped. That's all I was saying, and
Yeah,
all
we
I
heard
was
it
saying
the
is
first time.
often misused. That was it.
Okay, and I agree. And I'll back
Chris,
you.
the drop would be D1 in that equation with that small kind of triangle at the top that you get with that curved pie slice kind of going forward. The drop is D1. And so that's where you get the 8 inches per mile squared, because that's 8 inches roughly for 1 mile of curvature. So 1 mile of curvature forward will give you a drop down of about 7.87 whatever inches for a globe that's 24,901 miles in circumference.
All right, can I ask a question now?
Sure.
Okay. So according to the flat Earth model, the sun is roughly what, 3,000 to 5,000 miles above the surface?
If that.
How do we know that? Like, how can we?
No, this is what I've been told by flat earthers.
How can we?
Triangulation of the sun's rays, because the rays come down in a city about maybe 1,000 miles away when you look at it visually, and the rays come down over here 1,000 miles away. You can use construction and triangles using that, 1 unit of 1,000 miles this way, 1,000 miles this way as 1 unit, and construct about 4 or 5 units up to the sun using triangles that intersect with those rays, and you get about a couple thousand miles away.
Okay,
there's no consensus amongst the flat Earth community of the distance of the sun. The only thing flat Earthers agree on is that the Earth is flat and doesn't have curvature, and that it's stationary, as far as my understanding, in terms of what the term flat Earther is. In terms of how far the sun is, or what the sun is, or the moon, or stars, none of that is really involved directly in it. Of course, people might think about those things, but it's not. There's not some kind of agreed upon model or distance when it comes to those things.
Because see, even triangulating it, if you think about it, if you're in a forest and it's quite like misty or moist in the forest, and the sun rays are coming in from the top of the canopy of the forest, if you triangulate that sun from there, that would obviously say that the sun was a lot closer to those trees. So looking at it from those clouds, that's no correct. When you're looking at that, you can triangulate. Well, you didn't have to fucking speak over the top of me, man. But when you look at that in that forest, then that shows you that the sun's not that close as what we're thinking it is on those clouds. So it could be a lot further away than what appears above those clouds, man.
Sorry.
Okay, so if it's midnight where I'm standing,
a flat earther became a globe earther. He became a globe earther because he couldn't answer that question. That's why.
Right. And let's let him get to the heart of his question. Sorry about that. You were saying?
If it's midnight where I'm standing and I were to rise to the same altitude as the sun, would I be able to see the sun on a flat Earth?
No.
Midnight.
You'd have to be like 3,000 miles up, I believe. But with the firmament in the way about 100 miles up, that might be impossible. But who knows?
So you said if I rise to the same altitude as the sun, I'd be able to see the sun at midnight on a flat Earth.
There are reports of the midnight sun even down here. There are people who say that we got up on a mountain. Robotham was talking to sailors who said that they got up, to a high altitude or something like that, and they could see the sun in the north, the midnight sun in the north, though it was nighttime in their area. The midnight sun was a known phenomenon to sailors.
Okay. Do you believe in the vacuum of space?
Under the dome.
Excuse me. Let me answer you.
If there's no such, hold on. If there's no such thing as a vacuum of space, then why would we need a dome?
Before jumping to another topic. So, raising to enough altitude, yes, raising to enough altitude might allow you to see the sun as explained in this drawing in live stream 1.
But
the vacuum, so at midnight. So I'd be able to see the sun at midnight. So
the midnight sun.
Why is the entire Earth not illuminated? If I'll be able to see the sun at midnight.
Actually, now on YouTube we have videos. People have been able to see the moon from a daytime area, while the moon supposedly is behind the ball, the supposed ball or alleged ball. So that can also answer your question.
So the light from the sun just stops out of nowhere and doesn't illuminate the entire flat Earth?
No, you have to trace the light ray all the way to the end point, so you get the ability to see the source. If you are not standing within the shadow of the light, you can't see the source. As simple as that.
Yeah, the sun. I mean, just like any light, you have a light bulb, a flashlight, candle, any form of light will only light a local region. Essentially, it's called spectral radiance. So the actual wavelength of the light will radiate within a particular spectrum. So if it's a light bulb, it's going to have a particular spectrum. So the sun over the Earth, it only lights up. It's a local light source, essentially, and its light only reaches so far. The human eye can only see so far. And when you put all those together in atmospheric conditions and so on, the sun only lights up a local region of the Earth at any time.
Yeah, but that raises so many more questions, though. If the sun is local source, I can see stars. So how far away are the stars? Yes, you guys say, oh, we don't know how far, but they're obviously a lot farther away than the sun, right?
Not that much further. They appear to be about no more than 20,000 miles away, according to the triangulation in the Life is Short. Yes, according to the triangulation in the Life is Short video, they may be closer than that. I'll link the video in the chat.
Actually, this is where it's up to the math. So I did the math on the Polaris star, which is the star North Star, and from my calculations, it appeared that it's up about 4,800 kilometers above the north. So that also might be pretty much not correct due to the atmospheric refraction. But this is like a imaginary number that we might use.
Okay, so the sun is circling above the flat Earth. Okay.
It's about 32 miles in diameter, give or take.
32
small and local.
miles. Okay, so if the sun is 32 miles in diameter, so why do we not see it get smaller as it goes away during the sunset?
We see that also with and without solar filters. Let me see if I can find a video.
I would love to see that. Also, when the sun sets, how does it set nearly perpendicular on the horizon if it's going around in a circle above the flat Earth?
Due to the rules of perspective, let me see if I can put the citation home.
Also, Lemon, remember the atmospheric lensing? It has the ability to enlarge stuff going away from us.
If something is going, if something is going nearly perpendicular, like down, at what point does it turn? Since it's supposed to be circling.
Well, we only have a small view of the whole sky, and so perspective is going to kick in like the train tracks. The train tracks stay below your eye line and stay level for the most part, unless there's a change in elevation, although trains can't run on anything but flat grades, but I digress. But it appears to rise up toward toward your eye level, toward the horizon due to perspective. It's going to be the same with the sun if it makes a wide enough arc and gets far enough away from you. So it may appear to make a straight line, but it may be curved. It's like a reverse of the globe argument, saying that it's actually, curved though it looks straight. Maybe it's actually, curved though it looks straight with the sun too. And so it may just be perspective with the sun.
But again, that brings me back to the other question. If I was to go to an elevation high enough, shouldn't I be able to see it all the time?
Not necessarily, because you still have a limit to how far your eye can see. So if you raise up in altitude, you're going to get a wider angle. Well, it depends on what you're looking at. If it's down on the water, the angle is going to change. If it's up in the sky, but either way, you're really only increasing your angle. You're not getting super duper Superman vision to be able to see any further. You're just changing your position on the Earth in relation to whatever that object is.
But shouldn't I see the sun get smaller and smaller and smaller and just disappear?
Yeah, well, it depends. Yeah, if you watch a sunset in the desert, like if you go to a very, very flat, dry desert and you watch the sunset, it will shrink to a pinprick in the sky, and it will never even look to be going below, quote unquote, a horizon or getting cut off from the bottom up. It'll never do that. It'll literally go to a pinprick and vanish. Whereas if on the opposite, if you've got like an environment where there's a lot of moisture in the air and so on, you might get this huge, large-sized sun because it's being magnified by all the moisture in the air, and then it gets cut off very, very slowly from the bottom up. So that all has to do with the environment, how far you can see, angular resolution of the eye, and all those factors are different for every sunset.
And it also has to do with the fact that you're assuming the sun to be a physical object that is like a perpetual nuclear fusion explosion of a large, large, large ball of gas that just sits there in space, right? So you don't know that. You don't know what the sun is. Oh, cheers, by the way.
Do any of you live near the equator?
I used to live near the equator. Why?
So do any of you live near water?
Yeah, I did live near the water, near the equator.
Yes.
I'm surrounded by water. So I get to see sunsets all the time.
Yeah.
And when I look at a sunset and I take pictures of it, I can see literally the sun being cut off halfway. And the sun goes down nearly a straight line. So I don't understand how that would seem like it would circle above the flat Earth.
There's a glare in the water. You know how the sun reflects.
If you can think
Excuse me,
in
guys.
three, if you can think in three.
I got you.
Sorry,
I
go
got
ahead.
you, man. I got you. So yeah. So you would imagine that you are seeing forever standing on the flat Earth. That's not correct. So the horizon is away from you like a couple of miles only, depending on your height, which is like about like 5 miles maximum. So if you are watching the sun being set, that's not the actual sun that you are seeing. You are seeing the bent ray of the sun.
We get
So
it.
you are not looking at the
It never
actual
sets either.
source. You are not looking at the actual source. So as exactly as if you imagine, in physics, this example in every physics book where you have the fish in a tank of water, and they are like drawing a true ray of light coming from the fish, or a true shadow, or the fictional shadow. So if you shoot a bullet or a stick on that fish where you are seeing it from above the water, you will not hit the fish itself. And this is, we are talking about like what, less than a meter. Imagine about like this relatively huge distance, like 5 miles, which is not an actual shadow of the sun, which is, you are not looking at the source itself, it means. So yeah, if you take that into considerations, so if you are about to trace the sun bath, you only have 5 miles to do that, and that's the maximum distance you can see on the horizon. So even drawing or trying or attempting to do that, you will not be able to trace the like a huge distance as you might think of the sun or in orbit. So you have to keep that in mind. And also there is a lot of atmospheric phenomena which won't even allow you to do such things. Like you have atmospheric cleansing, which is even like enlarging the sun, like manipulating the ray itself in multiple ways, which might be uncomprehensible. And also you have perspective, as Lemon said. And yeah, so those things, you might think that we know everything. We don't really know everything. We know one thing for fact, which is Earth is flat. All the other celestial stuff is like up to be imagined only. And one last thing, if you are about to do any test or experiments about any celestial body, you have to have the light refraction constant in the atmosphere, which is nobody have it, not even NASA, nobody. So in order to calculate the exact position of any celestial body you are seeing, you have to have this constant, which is, as I said.
Okay, well, that raises even more questions. But again, like I said, when the sun sets perpendicular. I mean, when I look at like let's say we had a giant hula hoop above the ground. At what point does that hula hoop come in contact with the ground?
Again, you have to keep in mind what I said.
It doesn't.
Well, everything will set in your perspective due to perspective. I didn't say that.
Yeah,
but everything will set in your viewpoint due to perspective. So just like if you're looking down a hallway and everything converges, the lights on the ceiling look like it's setting. You know what I mean? When you're in a hallway, well, you know that those lights are not lowering in altitude; they're at the same altitude. But due to perspective, everything will converge. So when the sun sets, it's just converging at the horizon line, which the horizon line is just simply the optical extinction to how far your eye can see. And so at that point, it's getting far enough to where the sun's light doesn't reach you, and it's setting. Dude, yeah, like the one that Becky just posted with the bot. It just shows the perspective matrix. Yeah, it's pretty basic.
Yeah,
and then I posted one that shows a boat going over the horizon, and then also a dude and I posted the one above that. It shows the boat getting cut off. But you can recreate things with perspective getting cut off from the bottom up. It just has to do with the angle of your view, how far you are off the surface, where that object is on the surface. So yeah, objects will cut off from the bottom up, which is why the sun sometimes will appear to cut off from the bottom up, during sunsets, but not always. Sometimes, like I said, it fades to a pinprick.
Question for Bball4life. Bball4life. Question for you.
Yes.
Can you prove to me that the sun is a tangible physical object?
Can I prove it right now? No, I can't.
Negative.
I can't.
There you go.
Fair enough.
But can you, so I can, but see, I can do the same thing to you. Can you bring some evidence for the flat Earth, actual evidence, and not just globe proof?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Laser tests don't show the 8 inches per mile square that we're supposed to have on the
Lemon Bird, 8 inches per mile square doesn't work. And you've already been through this with MC Toon, so
yeah, that's because it's not a sphere.
Pretty good approximation. So if it's not 8 inches, then what is it? They don't have a replacement number, because then that would be holding their feet to the fire and showing that we're not seeing any curvature at all.
Hey, Bball, let us be real here.
Hold on. Let me hold on. You got the. Let me just say something real quick. If we have, and I'm gonna go back to that hallway, that long hallway. So let's say there's doors on that hallway. As those doors get farther away, they get smaller, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
So if that hallway is infinitely long, and there's a ball all the way on the other side, I could just, take a camera and zoom right in and still see the entire.
Up to a point, but after a while, you can't even zoom in.
And I can just get a bigger and bigger telescope and still see the entire ball.
Hey man, this is like, yeah, if you imagine that's up to you. But if you want to go with physics, that's not correct. In physics, when I studied optical engineering in university, there is something called infinity focus. Infinity focus is kind of a failure in any optical device, which is even our eyes are optical devices. So when the ray coming from the object is parallel with the center line or center shadow coming to the center of the lens, that is infinity focus. When infinity focus happen in any optical device, that distance is unknown. That shadow even you are seeing is like imaginary, so you can't see forever. Like you think you are seeing forever, that's not the actual object or the actual thing you are seeing. So if you even bring the biggest telescope, as you said, it will still suffer from this. So there is no way to run. This is simple physics.
Wait, what was your point again?
Me?
Yeah, what did you just say? Why was he wrong? What was wrong about?
Yeah, so he want to zoom about like the furthest distance, right?
Sure.
You need focus. Surface. Yeah, you need focus. Focus cannot be maintained the entire distance, and even the furthest distance you can zoom at, that will be only like imaginary stuff you are seeing. That's not the actual stuff.
So what are you saying? What do you mean imaginary?
Hold on, I'm sorry. Hold on.
What do you mean imaginary stuff?
On that flat surface will never hide anything because it's flat.
What do you mean imaginary?
You can make that ball. Wait. That ball float. Let's make the ball float in the hallway. Let's make it float and put it 1,000 miles away. Right?
Man, do you understand what I said?
Will that ball be cut off from the bottom up?
So do you understand what I said? You have, for any object, you have emitting light or reflecting light. You have rays coming to your eye, which is an optical device. If
you're saying as you zoom in,
this light, this light is traveling into a medium, or through a medium. This medium is manipulating the light ray in so multiple ways.
Okay.
So whatever you are seeing, you are seeing the object, but that's not the true ray from the object when it's very far away. So in order to do any experiment whatsoever, as I said before, you have to have this refractive constant.
Yeah, but how much are you guessing it even, makes this object? You know what? It couldn't throw it off that much. the idea throws it off to such an excuse me.
You have to connect the dots together. It's not.
That's what we're doing here. Tell me.
Science. It's simple science. So as I said, the furthest way, the furthest point we see is the horizon. We can't see beyond it. Why? Because of so many light phenomena, not because the Earth is curved.
We can't see beyond it, even though
whenever
we've done it before. I've done it before. How can you say that? You're wrong, sir.
Up to a point, there's a limit. After a while, the light rays get so smushed together and so close together when they're refocused, they interfere with each other. Waves that are too close together interfere with each other and cancel each other out. You wouldn't have a coherent light ray being focused. It would just be destructive interference, and you wouldn't see an image. You would see a canceled out line, or the image would disappear and be unresolved.
Yeah, at a certain point.
Yeah,
but he's
would it be
cut
off?
The horizon.
Actually,
would it be cut off from the bottom up?
At eye level, yes, because you can't resolve it. Because the rays from the sky and the ground are interfering with each other too much, and you're getting a horizon line at your eye level. Things have to be refocused on the lens of your eye, so your eye level elevation is going to come into play.
Yeah. That makes sense. But if you zoom past that and it focuses past that.
Up to a point, yes, but if there's too much interference, no good. You're just going to be zooming in on an interference zone.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Zooming with any lens doesn't really allow you the best telescope or camera. It doesn't really allow you to. Doesn't allow the human eye to see further. It just allows the human eye to have greater resolution of the environment. So you're not really seeing further. You're just getting greater resolution, which can result in seeing further because you're able to get a resolution of something that you weren't able to before. But it doesn't actually extend the actual distance.
Well, okay, but that still kind of does debunk the idea that, okay, from a human perspective, that horizon line is the end of our sight. Not really. When you put better resolution on it, it extends further. So therefore, that's not really true.
No, wait. Maybe you have not seen any videos to the B900, people using it, or other telescopes to see.
What do you mean? I have one. I've used it.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah. I have a P900 as well.
Okay, so do you understand that even the largest zoom you put, or when you zoom at anything near the horizon or toward the horizon, you cannot penetrate the horizon whatsoever, regardless of what you use?
That's not true, because I mean, isn't there a moon setting on the P900? So how far is the moon away? Isn't the moon farther than the horizon?
Based off of the size, it's about as far away as the sun, since they're similar sizes and they eclipse one another. But things that are higher up are seen for much longer than stuff at eye level, because they have a wider angle to work with, and they're not going to be as smushed as quickly. So you're going to see stuff that's further up and away from your visual line for longer, but it will set precipitously and still keep its size like the sun without changing size much. The video goes over it in detail. The video about perspective over a flat plane.
Lemon, you're correct. I want to hear what this guy says about that.
I think you guys are not. No, not really. I just stopped because you are not really following up on me.
No, I want to hear what you have to say about.
You're not connecting the dots. So when I went with simplest physics, very simple, not really went deep into it, just explaining that what you are seeing is not the actual things. This is the light path we are seeing that is leading us to see the source. But it's a light being bent through the atmosphere due to so many phenomena. So, but you keep on saying, this is that, this is not. So whatever you want to experiment with, this is why we can't really use any optical device to measure distances which is so far away. This is why we use laser. Do you get it?
This is why we use laser, correct?
Yeah.
You just said that, right? Hello?
Yeah.
You just said laser.
Yeah, do you understand how laser...
Okay, no. I just want to be sure you said laser.
Do you understand how laser measures the distance?
I just want to know you said laser. That's all I can...
Okay. So go ahead, Lemon. That's, I think, enough said by me.
No, you just confirmed.
I confirmed what?
It's flat.
Yeah, Earth is flat.
I don't know about that.
I don't really understand what you are saying here. But hey, man,
Because if I can,
I think
if I can go to the beach right now, right? It's 9:57 where I'm at. I'm in Honolulu, Hawaii. If I can go to the beach right now and see stars on the horizon, how far are the stars then?
I didn't realize you're a flat earther, Dr. Islam.
Exactly, man. What are you even like?
I didn't
oh my
even
God.
look at the screen. Apologies.
Oh,
Well,
okay,
the thing, the stars are about 20,000 miles away by the perspective rules in the video. I'll link it again. But your close proximity to the flat plane will make stuff set sooner because you have less room to work with visually. So they can be very far away, but it's going to set sooner than it would.
Where is your evidence that the stars are 20,000 miles away?
Based off of the perspective rules of the visual field in the video, it goes over it in great length. I would recommend you look at the video. Let me link it again.
Wow. So literally the stars are, wow.
Hey, Bball4life, excuse me, man. But do you realize that whatever we discuss of the celestial bodies in any way or form or shape does not really affect the real measurement that we have that Earth is flat? Do you understand that?
You don't really have to go through all that stuff. You can, knowing that the Earth is a globe is kind of an easy thing. All right, it's kind of an easy thing. Like, say for instance, the star trails in the north and the south. How would that work on a flat Earth? So to me, if I was a flat earther, I would think, okay, so there should only be one rotating star point above the North Pole. That's it. There shouldn't be two. Okay.
Not
also,
really.
if I go to about, let's say about 20, if I go to about 3, 4, 5, 6 miles above the flat Earth, I should be able to see. Well, now let's go even further. Let's go 100 miles above the flat Earth. I should be able to see clear all the way to the ice wall.
No, because you can't see that far. The human eye is not that powerful.
Because I'm looking through less atmosphere. Am I not?
No,
not really. The human eye is limited. I mean, just like in a video game where you have a limit to how far your little character can see, even if the world is much larger, you can only see a local region, because literally, and that's angular resolution as well. I mean, there's literally only a certain amount of pixels that can be put onto a screen. Same with your eyeball, can only see a certain, they're not technically pixels with your eyeball, but you could relate it to that. So yeah, there's a limit. I mean, we're an animal, we're not like some kind of super duper Superman thing. We're a human with a human eye that has its limits.
But we have tools to make us see a lot further.
Well, those tools, like I was saying before, they only let you get further resolution, which can have a result of seeing further, like a boat that you couldn't see. You zoom it in, you can get more resolution. Now you can see it. So the end result is that you can see further, if you will, but you're not actually seeing further. Like, it's not actually extending the range. All it's doing is increasing the resolution. But yeah, you can increase resolution with lenses and things, but just like with a magnifying glass, the only thing you're magnifying is what you already can see. You're not actually getting more. If you put a magnifying glass onto some text that you're reading, you're not getting more letters. You know what I mean? You're just getting more resolution for what's on the page.
Let me.
That's all a lens does. A lens just gives you more, zoom and more detail.
Yeah, let me help you. So, people, you realize that our eyes are only capable of seeing visible light frequencies.
Hold on 1 second, man, because Lemonberg just said the stars are 20,000 miles away. So obviously we can see 20,000 miles if we can see the stars, right?
But you're taking flat plane, so you're not going to see them forever. They're about 20,000 miles.
If I look straight up, I can see the stars. I can see them right now, actually.
Hey,
yeah. So
maybe
that's 20,000 miles.
Looking straight up the way.
You don't realize again what I said. I will repeat it. So, if you are to triangulate any star which is sitting at the horizon, the distance will be what? Can you?
You said, say that again. I'm sorry, I'm driving.
No worries. So if you are to triangulate the distance to any star that is, or let's say any actual celestial body that is sitting, sun, moon, star, what is the distance you will be triangulating if it's sitting at the horizon?
It depends on how far the horizon is.
Exactly. So when things are coming, like raising up, let's say, from the horizon, so you have a limit to what you can triangulate above you as well. So again, that limit doesn't add up to light years whatsoever. So you have to be realistic. And in order for you
where's
in
your
order
evidence
for
for
you
that?
to keep saying we should be able to see forever, no, because all the atmosphere we have, and we are only capable of seeing visible light. So in order to see forever, you have to use gamma rays, okay, which we can't really. We don't have even an optical device or any kind of sensor or camera that can see by gamma rays. I'm sorry, man. If you use gamma rays, maybe we can talk about seeing forever.
But again, he just said we could see the stars are 20,000 miles. I'm going off of what Lemonberg said, 20,000 away. So I should at least be able to see that far, right?
Yeah, at man.
And
So
this and the sun is what, 3,000-4,000 miles? Go ahead.
Sorry, where are you looking to see that distance?
He said 20,000 miles, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's a model that Lemon was proposing and suggesting, but that isn't something that necessarily every flat earther universally
you guys
agrees
don't
on.
even agree on anything. Like, how can you even
Yeah,
believe in
that's
flat Earth?
where
You guys don't even agree
independent
on anything.
thinkers. The video that derives the distance is in the chat. I'll link it for a third time.
Dude, I'm not gonna watch no flat Earth video. That's not flat Earth videos are not. That's not evidence.
So why did you come to a flat Earth server?
Think about this. There it is.
Indeed.
Why did you come to a flat Earth server then, bro?
Because
Closed-minded chump, dude.
You don't
Guy's
sound like you
offering
really want to
all
watch or
sorts of
look.
evidence. Chump
I don't really want to learn. What would I learn from flat Earth? I've learned more about the globe. I've learned more about the globe than just by listening to flat Earth.
Oh, you'll learn more about
because
the
I know
globe.
I know how wrong it is. I know how
No,
wrong
you'll learn
it is.
about
we got
the
to
globe
teach
if you
you
come
about
in
the
here,
globe.
man.
That's right. That shows how far your knowledge base is. Give me a break. You got to come here to learn about the globe. What did I tell you?
Oh my god.
There's a lot more to learn.
That's a golden
What
globe.
that makes us wrong? No, that makes us right.
That is a golden globe. Yeah, I had to learn more about the globe, so I went and talked to flat earthers.
Can you believe that?
Because I want
So
because the funny
unbelievable.
I know it sounds funny. It sounds funny. Because when you go and look for actual truth, when you peer review something what someone says, you go check what someone says, and
you
they're
just
actually
said
wrong.
You
You're
learned
like,
from
oh.
us.
Because I go and check.
Contradicting yourself.
Because I go and check.
So now you're contradicting yourself. You just said you came here to learn from us, and now you don't learn from us.
Lemonberg says the stars are 20,000 miles right now. Now I'm going to go and check that. And then I'll find out.
Let's calm
down. Then I'll go and find
No.
out for real.
He suggested a video for you to watch. So
and then you guys don't even agree on anything. Lemonberg says 20,000 miles.
We don't have
nobody else
once we teach you about the globe, we can also teach you about the solar system.
Flat. We already said we agree that Earth is flat. What are you saying about not?
Okay.
But when you say you guys, that means you're categorizing someone. And I described earlier, from my general understanding, the term flat Earth or flat earther means that we agree that the Earth does not have curvature and that it isn't spinning and rotating, meaning that it's stationary. So nobody claimed that everybody agrees on distances to stars and all the rest of parts of the cosmology when it comes to flat Earth in general. And just being a flat earther, nobody's, it's not something that everyone necessarily is agreeing on when it comes to a lot of the other factors of the cosmology, of more totality of cosmology, I should say.
I mean, but shouldn't you guys agree on certain things?
But we're all humans, mate.
We agree it's flat.
We agree that the Earth is a level plane. It doesn't mean that we all are on the exact same page with every spiritual and metaphysical and part of the.
We don't got to go any further than that. That's the only claim.
Here's my other question.
That's it. That's the only claim, pal.
Why is it that the evidence that you get? Well, how is that credible? The evidence you got whenever you decided, whatever you learned that the Earth was flat, and whoever you learned it from, why was that person credible?
What,
I don't really look at the person.
Flat and stationary. Is that not how you experience Earth? You need to be taught you live on a ball flying through space, mate. You need to see it on the TV. You need other people to tell you. We're experiencing reality and accepting it for how it presents itself.
But in reality, germs don't present themselves.
Because I can think in 3 dimensions. That's a problem. Flat earthers can't think in 3 dimensions.
Think in 3 dimensions.
Yeah.
You got a 3D TV. Is that what it is?
Listening to this guy.
I don't think he's listening to himself.
Well, in terms of information being credible or not, when I look at information, I do look at the person saying it in terms of that, but I look at the information itself. So it doesn't really matter to some degree what somebody's judgment of credibility might be. I look at the actual information, whether it's valid or not.
Yeah, but you looked at flat Earth and you didn't check it. You just said, "Oh shit, flat Earth." Okay.
Oh,
well, that's a straw man argument, and that's something you just made up. Is there a reason you just made that up?
Because that's what all flat earthers do.
Okay, that's also a logical fallacy. Do you want to keep just doing logical fallacies?
I'll do. Yeah.
The findings of other flat earthers.
You just resorted to logical fallacies at the end of this thing? I mean, come on.
Like I said before, you're just going along with what you've been presented. This globe you've been taught.
Yeah, but all of you have been presented flat Earth. That's the thing. You've been presented it.
You're already just in denial mode.
And all you
you're
do
just in deny mode. You're not even allowing yourself to think. Like you're just sitting here always with the opposite to come back at us and just say that. Like,
does the Earth present itself flat and stationary in your experience?
Well, anybody could say that because we're
is that a yes?
From the surface of the Earth, from the surface.
That's a yes.
From the surface, absolutely.
Right.
But the thing is that you can use other things to test it.
Right. So what do you do to test it? What do you do to prove the globe then?
Lasers.
You look at the stars.
Like
you look at things that disappear in the bottom. You look at the sun.
So you look up and you see things revolving around your head.
We didn't ask about stars above. We didn't ask about stars in the sky. He asked you, how do you prove the Earth is a globe? Not that the stars move a certain way. How about that the Earth is a globe? How do you prove that to yourself and that it's spinning and all that?
How do I prove it to myself? Let's see.
Yeah, so not including stars up in the sky. We're talking about the Earth, not stars.
Well, the thing is, the stars can tell you a lot about what you're on.
That's affirming the consequent logical fallacy.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna go the Nathan Oakley route. Is that what we're doing?
No, I'm just describing it. We asked you if you could prove what proves to you the actual Earth is a curved globe and that it's spinning. Let's just go back to.
Let me see. Let's see. The sun. The sun's
again, that's a light in the sky. We're not talking about lights in the sky. I asked about the Earth, not lights in the sky.
The sun's path in the sky. There you go.
That's not proof.
Star trails, circling star trails at opposite ends of the Earth.
Dude, I'm gonna ask again. I'm asking for proof of the curvature or movement of Earth, not anything to do with the stars. I didn't ask about the stars.
Show me a picture of a boat at 50 miles away, and then I'll be a flat earther.
We're asking you.
Show me a picture of a boat
for your evidence,
at 50 miles away.
What are you asking us for to give you something for? You're meant to be telling us. You're meant to be showing us your evidence for this sphere that you say we live on.
Check it out. Take your P900, right? All of you have P900.
So
take your P900.
Why
go out at night and point it south. Go out at night. Point your P900.
Hey, sorry, Bball and Branch. Hey guys, when you time out when you are in the time out of your denial mode, you come and speak. Maybe now, as I realize, I muted you. Sorry, but like you did not let anything sink in of what we said. if you just heard me, like just let what I said about the gamma ray camera or whatever sink in your mind, you come back to the argument that, hey, use a B900 to see a boat. Man, do you even understand how the specs of the cameras that we are using, the light frequencies, the light energy, the wavelength? Man, like, are you crazy? But like, I will unmute you, man. When you are here to learn and hear, yeah, I will unmute you. But like, if you come back to here, I would say, guys, this is a waste of time. So next.
It is a waste of time. That's what
You're
these
not gonna teach me about flat Earth.
morons do.
You already learned about the globe.
Look up to prove what's down. It's absurd.
You're not gonna teach me about flat Earth.
Well, you don't have to. Here's the thing, dude. You don't have to defend your beliefs. You're free to believe anything you want, man. You can totally believe it all. But you're here and you're asking flat Earth questions, and so we're answering them for you, and we're having a discussion. You can believe the globe all day long. You can have any viewpoint you want, but we were asking, for proof of the globe, and you still haven't really provided that either.
I asked about your proof.
All right. So how does an eclipse?
He's provided nothing besides learn from us, and then say we're at the same time, we're not teaching him anything. That's how ridiculous.
How does an eclipse work on a flat Earth?
How have you got the? Where's your proof for your globe? What are you asking?
How does an eclipse?
About your proof.
What is your evidence?
An eclipse would probably work by dark stars or
Where's your
some
proof
other
for dark star? Where's your proof for that?
The ancient world spoke about them, about translucent bodies that occasionally get in front of other celestial bodies in eclipse.
Does anybody else agree with that?
We also have a person who came in here, what's her name? Nova. She talked about, what did she call those things? Oh God! There was.
Does anybody else agree with what Lemonbird's talking about?
I think they called them dust clouds or something. But the thing is, the Selenelian eclipse already proves that the Earth can't be the only thing doing the eclipsing because the angles don't match up in the Selenelian eclipse for the Earth to be doing the eclipsing.
Okay.
So it has to be something else. Also, there's video of Ketu and Rahu eclipsing the moon in particular for the lunar eclipse. Ketu and Rahu being known as the black sun in the Vedic astrology in the Indian Vedic astrology. Would you like to see a video?
I couldn't catch your last name, sir, again.
Please hang up. Or, I'm sorry, push to talk.
You said Major Gabriel? Okay. All right, sir, I got you. Okay.
You're in the military?
Yes, I am.
Please push to talk. Thank you.
Anybody hear me?
Yeah, we heard you talking to your major.
More than necessary, yeah.
Wait, he was just
more than we have to.
What the hell's going on here?
So, does anybody agree with what Lemonbird said?
It always gets weirder, doesn't it, guys?
Why should I answer you?
Why are you always talking about things in the sky? Why not forget about the sky and go back to the Earth's surface? What have you got to prove this globe you claim that we live on?
Okay, why can't we see boats at 50 miles away?
Because they're too small and too far away.
Are you too
small?
You could see lighthouses at 50 miles away. You can see land masses at way more than 50 at 100.
Okay,
the longest distance world record photography is 270 miles.
The infrared is over 1,000.
It's from one mountain to another mountain.
Wait. Am I sure I'm in the military?
Yes.
What are you? What? Why is my career coming into question now?
Have you seen all the documents from the military that talk about the Earth, that refer to the Earth as a flat stationary plane?
No, man, yes, but I have seen a lot of documents that say rotation of the Earth. So
don't worry, man. He won't. Yeah.
But you haven't seen the Earth rotate, right? You're gonna talk about the sky again now, aren't you? You're gonna tell me about the sun that is setting.
We see the Earth rotate every day.
Can
You
you
see
actually,
prove it?
where?
actually, there's a live stream video of it. Go look at it.
Oh,
So
TV.
what has sparked your interest in wanting to look into flat Earth and learn about it?
I've been in this argument for a long time, but this is the first time I came to the 24-hour.
I take it you've
I
never
literally want to rip my face off when I hear you guys talk about stuff because it's so wrong.
So you talk to flat earthers because you just want to rip your face off, or why? I'm just asking why you're interested in it.
Because it's fake.
So you've been interested in it for. You said you've been in it for a long
been,
time. You've been in it for a long time, and then so do you just like wasting your time on things that are fake, or what's the reason to spend so much time on it?
By the way, this guy is unbelievable. So after all the evidence we shown him, and he's still like saying fake.
It's sad. It
So
fake news.
My question is, my question to you is, do you understand English?
Very well.
I actually I doubt that.
Okay.
My question is when you ask a question, do you wait for the answer? I mean, I don't get it. Why do you ask? Because you seem to, when the answer starts, you seem to butt in, interrupt, and pose another question.
Go ahead. Okay,
and then when that one is answered, someone starts to answer it, then you rinse and repeat. You just butt in again, like 2 or 3. I mean, get a grip, man.
Okay, go ahead.
Can't you put a sock in it for like 10 seconds? I mean, you asked the question. Are you not interested to hear the answer?
I'm listening to you right now.
Hey guys, quick question. Just send me a message saying they can't hear me talk.
Oh,
can you guys hear me now?
Don't start. Please don't start, for God's sake, man.
All right, you can hear me now.
Aye, we can hear you.
Yeah.
That's all I want to know.
So that guy we're talking to, so how do we get a lunar eclipse then?
On a flat Earth, yeah. How do we?
No, how do we get a lunar eclipse in your explanation of it?
What, on heliocentric model?
Yeah.
The Earth comes in between the sun and the moon.
So the 3 bodies would have to be in alignment. They would have to have the sun.
Are you asking or are you telling us?
I'm telling you,
man. So you would have to have the sun, the Earth, then the moon in alignment for the Earth's shadow to be cast upwards onto the lunar surface.
Yep.
Right, so would that be possible to have a lunar eclipse if the sun and the moon are above the horizon at the same time?
Yep.
How would that be possible then?
Hey.
Actually, I think it would be totally impossible to have a...
Man, Branch, hold up, man. So how would that be possible, bro?
You show okay, link me to whatever you're out. Don't really understand what you're trying to say.
I'm asking you. Right, so if you can see the sun and the moon above the horizon at the same time, would it be possible for the Earth's shadow or supposed shadow to be cast upwards onto the lunar surface if the 2 bodies are above you, above the horizon at the same time?
Yes.
Well, how could that be possible, bro?
It works.
It just works. It just works.
Of the model. This is like accepted. It's not like a.
Okay, now can I ask a question?
Yeah. Well, mate, how can it be possible?
Hold on. Can I ask a question now?
No, mate, you never answered it, man. You've just not answered that. You've just said because it is.
You could look it up if you wanted to look it up.
It's called.
You asked your question. Now can I ask my question?
At the very least, think about it.
Yes. What is your question?
No. Did you even answer it, bro?
When
eclipse for a reason, man.
Okay, so
it's impossible, bro.
You know, Darkstar's a very reasonable person, right?
Shut the fuck up, bro. I've muted you multiple times,
ask you a question, my man.
Man.
Hey,
Right, so are you actually going to answer, bro? You're just going to avoid it. So, but flat earthers are idiots. We've not got a clue. You want to rip your face off, but you can't answer a simple question.
I want to see what you're explaining. I would like to see. I would like to see what you're explaining.
Full of it, man. It's
okay. In the
it's called the impossible eclipse, because the 2 bodies are above the horizon at the same time.
And how often does that happen?
It's been.
Is it very rare?
100 and however many times. I don't know.
How many eclipses have there been in history?
About 50 times. Something like that. 50 times.
It only needs to happen fucking once, man.
You obviously about what type of eclipse are you talking about, right? There's different types.
The impossible eclipse.
The Selenelian eclipse. It's in the chat. As you can see, you have the sun, earth, and moon in the model for the Selenelian eclipse. Now, the heliocentric model, to have an eclipse of the moon, you have to have the earth and moon in a line with the earth blocking out the light of the sun and casting a shadow onto the moon. It has to be in a line, so basically the sun would be behind the earth, and there would be a huge hump of earth curvature blocking the sun beyond, with the moon on the other side of the earth in the shadow. As you can see, the Selenelian eclipse has both the moon and the sun above the horizon, when the heliocentric model says you would only see one or the other, not both of them. As you can see, that dotted line represents the horizon. An observer would basically be at the top above, seeing both the sun and the moon above the horizon. If you go a little bit to the left, you will not see the sun beyond a hump of earth curvature. Go a little bit to the right, you will not see the moon beyond a hump of earth curvature. So you cannot see both the sun and moon above the horizon for the eclipse. It is impossible, and the angles do not match. As you can see, the sun is giving off its rays and causing a shadow going one way while the moon is above the horizon. That is impossible. And to make matters worse, the shadow of the moon that you should see as it descends into the Earth's shadow does not come bottom up as you would expect with that sort of an eclipse. It actually comes top down, which is even worse. So this eclipse is not making any sense. Something else has to be eclipsing the moon, possibly a dark star, or who knows?
A dark star. Does anyone agree with the dark star?
Well, what's your answer, mate? Stop trying to point out problems in what we're saying to you when it's obviously it doesn't work on your model. You've said nothing any flat earthers ever told you makes any sense. You've made no sense since you've came here. Not one single bit of
let's
evidence.
Let's talk about the flat Earth model then.
So you're going to avoid. You're going to avoid it yet again, mate.
We're going to stay dropping.
It's already been documented. I mean, that type of eclipse already been documented, so obviously it works on our model.
Well, it doesn't.
Obviously. So now let's talk about the flat Earth model. Let's talk about the flat Earth model. How does the eclipse work?
Nobody's claiming a model.
You're not allowed to play us, man. We don't play to your rules.
So I can't ask questions
you
now?
can't let us. No. We don't like jump to the globe whenever you want, and you like bring us back to the flat whenever you want. So when you
we
want
can't
to
talk about your model?
Hey, when you fail to explain your model, okay, you can't like just escape it by saying, let's go back to the flat. Hey man, answer the questions.
So how does the possible eclipse work? You know what? I haven't looked into it. There you go. But guess what? I will look into it. I will look into it, and I guarantee it's pretty easy to explain.
They've not been able to explain it.
Let's share knowledge.
There's your answer. There's your answer. Okay, so now can I ask a question?
Please.
What's it going to be about the model?
So how does the eclipse work on a flat Earth? When does the sun? When does the freaking flat Earth get in between the moon?
It's not a possibility.
I got this.
You got it?
So
okay, let's go. Let me hear it.
So the way it works...
I've been waiting for this.
So the way it works is that the sun gets eclipsed. That's all we know.
Oh my God, that's an inadequate definition, and we have more information. For God's sakes, lunar eclipses happen in a model, in a pattern that is a 651-year pattern called the Saros cycle. You have the exact same eclipse in the exact same position in the sky every 651 years, and you get a general repetition pattern in the same location, though it may be somewhat different in the sky every 18 years and 10 months and some change. That pattern was known in the ancient world, flat or round. You can superimpose that onto any model, lunar eclipse-wise, and the solar eclipses probably work similarly because they're cycling up above us in regular, repeated cycles. They probably just get in front of each other and or are eclipsed by dark bodies. For the love of God, there are things that explain this in flat or round models, with irrespective of the model, and you have less predictability with heliocentrism because you don't know where the body is going to be in absolute space because it's whirling through the vacuum of space. You have no predictability with heliocentrism because you don't know where the body is going to be. You only have regularity if there is a fixed center like you would with the geocentric flat Earth.
When does the moon get below the sun to block it on a flat Earth?
Every 18 years, 10 months and some change for an eclipse in your area. It depends on where you are. It depends on where it's circling. The Saros cycle, you need a citation for the Saros cycle. Let me see if I can find a video.
So we're saying, so now we're saying that the sun and the moon are at different elevations? Is that what we're saying?
By implication, yes. By implication, yes. The sun cycle in and up, out and down because of the analemma, giving you a figure 8 with a small loop in the top, a large loop in the bottom. The moon's analemma appears to be opposite, with a large loop in the top, small loop in the bottom. So it appears to be cycling with the moon, cycling down and in and down, out and up, while the sun appears to be the opposite, in and up, out and down.
So the sun does zigzags in the sky throughout the year.
It has a yearly spiral. It cycles close to the North Pole for summer in the northern central center, toward the northern hemisphere, which would be the central zone, toward the central North Pole, and it cycles out toward the south in a fatter arc for summer for the southern outer section, between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, oscillating between the two tropics.
So you do realize that if you do that, the sun would have to go faster as it got higher. You know, you do realize that, right?
I believe Jared did an interview.
As it go to the lower tropic, you realize that, right? So now the sun does different speeds.
The other way around, actually.
Yeah, it changes ground speed, but it doesn't change the actual rotational speed, meaning it still makes a rotation every 24 hours. Just like the hands on a clock, the inner part of the hand is moving, if you're only like a quarter of an inch from the center of the clock, it's moving very, very slow, the ground speed, but it's still making one rotation every 24 hours. All the way at the end of the hand, way out on the end of the hand, it's moving much faster across the face of the clock, but it's still making one rotation every 24 hours. So yeah, it's the same rotational speed, but it's a faster ground speed.
All right, I have another question.
You're not even listening to what I say.
Can anyone explain?
I think you've just got to listen to questions.
Wait, no.
Can anyone explain the 24-hour sun in Antarctica?
Wait, hold up. We'll get to that, but you have not explained the impossible eclipse, aka
oh god, is this flat Earth data
on your model, which doesn't work? Why do you have to talk over everyone? I can mute you, but I'm not going to. I just respect you.
Is this the flat Earth data?
That's not flat Earth data, but he is on this. He has been on the server. But
it sounded like flat Earth data. Sorry.
People hear me or no? Am I coming through?
No, but I'll take that as a compliment because he's actually a good. But anyway, he's not really the best. But that's a different story. But shout out to Flat Earth Data. But yeah, dude. So are you going to explain that or?
Wait, what was your question?
The Selenilian eclipse, aka the possible eclipse, which is impossible on your model. How do you justify it?
I haven't looked into it, so I can't speak to it.
Oh, okay.
But you know what? But I will. I'll do my homework because that's what we do.
All right. I appreciate you at least being honest about it. Thanks, dude.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Like I don't know if people can hear me now, but I posted an image in the chat that talks about the Selenilian eclipse. It's caused by refraction. Basically, it only happens during sunrise and sunset. The refraction can cause things to appear higher in the sky than what would otherwise be, right? We've seen that with sunrises. So what's happening is that you're seeing the object of the moon or the sun.
You still have to line up, dude.
Yeah.
But see, you just said it only happens during sunrise and sunset.
Of the sun,
how does the shadow come from the top of the moon's surface downward?
Yeah. That's the next problem with it. But I do want to touch on, because I mean, obviously that's the answer that the most common answer I get. So the thing is with refraction, it depends on weather. It depends on certain weather conditions. So like, how are the Selenilian eclipses predicted if they depend on this very specific weather, condition, atmosphere, refractive conditions for it to be possible. So you got to think about that.
I'm not sure that they are predicted necessarily, but if you can show me a link where they're predicted. Well, I mean, if it's occurring during close to a sunset or a sunrise, you can assume that there's going to be some refraction. So it might be the case that you have that kind of an eclipse happen.
Well, it depends where in the world, where on Earth you are. So I mean, it's just there's a lot of variables when it kind of makes it work on the model, but it's kind of like it's a little bit of a stretch.
Well, I'm not saying this is for sure what's going on, but it's at least a plausible answer, right? People are rarely.
So how does the shadow come from the top down then?
Yeah, exactly. Guys, look at this picture. Look at this picture.
Is that refraction that does that as well?
I'll give you an explanation for why the Saturnian eclipse happens based on the formal model that most people accept. So if you don't, then point me to some paper or website that goes into detail on this criticism. Because I don't.
How does the shadow come from the top to the bottom? I was asking you, man.
Sure, what you mean by the top down?
Yeah,
the shadow works from the top of the moon downwards.
Exactly, and the Earth is below you.
Is it incompatible?
Just think about it geometrically, like
the impossible eclipse for a reason, man.
For
two reasons.
So dark star in another word. So if Earth is below you, the moon being like casted, a shadow being casted on the moon, top to bottom. What is casting the shadow if the Earth is below you, and if the Earth is the source of that shadow? How come?
The Earth is below you. I'm thinking the Earth being between the moon and the sun. I'm just looking at it like horizontally.
Well, the explanation is inadequate on two counts. The shadow is not explained, and neither is it explained how you have upward refraction of both the moon and the sun into the same type of refraction upward with two different types of temperature conditions, warm toward the sun and cool toward the moon. So it's possible, but it seems inadequate. Perhaps another model is needed to explain what the phenomenon.
And whoever said horizontally, that's a little bit ambiguous because the expression you're looking for is both the sun, the earth, and the moon are presupposed spheres, and they occupy the same straight line. They are aligned. Sorry.
That's fine. I mean, you can say aligned, yeah. Aligned, yeah.
Okay. Can anybody explain the 24-hour sun in Antarctica?
That's simply explained if you recognize a dome being, if you recognize the heaven or the sky above you being a dome capable of interacting with the light coming from the sun.
Okay, he said sun, not sunlight. 24-hour sun. He did not say 24-hour sunlight.
The sunlight is refracted. The sun that you see in the images is fake and probably photoshopped in to prop up the globe falsehood, hide the land in Antarctica, and keep Copernicanism afloat.
So that's all. That's your whole argument, that everything is just fake. That's it.
Refracted light with a fake photoshopped in sun at the southern latitude.
Where is
you can probably still get an actual sun up to about probably 60 to 70 miles, 60 to 70 degrees south latitude. But beyond there, you're probably only going to get refracted light off of the dome, or refracted light from far away where you don't see the actual sun. And there are actual sailors' accounts that point to refracted light from Samuel Rowbotham, pointing to refracted light, not to an actual sun.
Samuel Rowbotham, of course. That still doesn't explain how we have 24-hour sun.
It's refracted light
at certain parts of the year.
Far away.
So if I'm standing on the ice wall, right, and I'm looking at I'm looking at the sun. Shouldn't I? The sun circling above the flat Earth. Shouldn't it be like a big oval going away from me?
Have you stood on the ice wall?
I'm thinking hypothetically.
It's just hypothetically. Then.
Well, yeah, that's the problem with this argument because 24 sun in Antarctica hasn't been documented as the one in the north, and like the ones that I have seen, there was clearly manipulation going on to the videos, so it's hard to even trust if it exists. I mean, I've yet to see an unedited video of
I
it.
think there's a bunch of videos that show 24 hours sun. There's actually one that shows a clock.
You think there is?
I've seen that
You
one.
got one.
They all look
You got one
pretty
there.
You can post them, but I mean, pretty much we've probably seen them all. You know, you can find evidence of manipulation.
Because to me, I'm thinking like, okay, if I'm standing in Antarctica, which is going around the flat Earth, holding the water in supposedly, the sun should literally be doing a giant oval in the sky.
I've never been there to say.
Yeah, well, that's assuming there's a 24. Maybe what you have is you have the refracted sunlight, like Lemon was describing, and you don't actually see the sun, but you still kind of have the light from it as it like kind of propagates like through the atmosphere.
But wouldn't it be like arching away from me?
No, not really. I mean, everything that like you see in essentially a bubble, like a hemispherical bubble above wherever you're standing, that's what your eyeball can see, up, down, left, right. And so when something is moving over you, you're going to see it coming in, due to perspective, it's rising and setting. So no, it's not going to look like an oval. It's going to look like a light moving through the sky through the little miniature personal atmospheric dome that surrounds, where you're standing.
Oh God! Now this the atmospheric dome.
I'm not saying there's a dome. I'm not claiming a dome to the Earth. What I'm saying is that above you there is a dome of how far your eye can see. I'm calling that a personal atmospheric dome, meaning that just like in a video game, if you're standing on the surface of a world in the video game, with your mouse you move up, left, right. Everywhere you move around your mouse, you're seeing in a hemispherical shape. Obviously you can't see under the earth because you're standing on it. So you see left, north, south, east, west. You can look up in every direction. I'm just saying that that's your personal atmospheric dome. So the sun will constellate in its position where it actually is in the sky, but that has to relate to where you're actually viewing it from. And so, yeah, that's how the sun will be moving through your sky depending on your perspective.
And where can I cite this information from? A credible source.
Are your eyes a credible source?
What do you mean by credible? So you want like an
a credible source where I can learn all this.
An authority to appeal to, right? Yeah, authority. Like a .gov website, yeah? Is that what you mean?
So a .gov website's going to tell me that there's an atmospheric dome?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is that what you want? You want like some kind of
that's what I want. That's what I want. I want
mom and pops to hold your hand. Sure, man.
I want concrete flat Earth evidence.
If you take like a straight line,
you don't have concrete glow
say like the light rays coming to your eye. Take like a ruler, and you'll take it and swing it around you, and you're going to have a circle. Take that circle and go up and down with it, and you're going to have a dome of straight light that can reach your eye all around you. So it seems like it's pretty intuitive that there's going to be a limited visual range and a visual dome around you based off of the way that your vision works, doesn't it?
I mean, but think about it. Okay, the sun is circling above the flat Earth, correct?
Supposedly,
so if I'm in California,
yes.
It's circling above. Okay. Now, if I'm standing on the ice wall and I'm looking north, apparently, or to the center of the Earth, shouldn't I see a giant oval?
With the sun's path, if you can see it, that's what you would expect. But with perspective, you'd probably just see it so far away, just poking above the horizon before it dips back down below the horizon. It would probably just make a very quick appearance because of your personal visual dome It's so far away. It's like the train tracks converging up towards your horizon, and just making a small appearance because of perspective and being so far away.
So I should see it should make like a giant arch, like arching away from me.
Probably
yeah,
a small one.
Yeah, it's arching
yes,
through
I
your
said that-
sky. I mean, one way you can recreate this: take like a pan of water and put that you would cook on, like a frying pan. Put like an inch of water in it. Take a bunch of soap. Put some soap in there to get all bubbles on it. So you've got these little kind of hemispherical dome bubbles. And then take like a flashlight and move it like the sun would be moving around the Earth. In each of those personal atmospheric domes, you're going to see a different arcing of that light that's reflecting off of those little bubbles, as you're moving it around. So even though you're moving in a circle, those little atmospheric domes, which are much smaller proportionally, they're not seeing the sun necessarily moving in a circle. Now, the 24-hour sun in the north, you literally do see it arcing all the way around you. So in that case, you will. But if you're on other parts of the Earth, especially in the southern regions where you're only seeing a little small section of the sun path, you're not going to see it curving necessarily. You're going to see it just moving through your own personal atmospheric dome or your own sky due to your perspective. And that's different than looking at it from above. If you were God or something looking at it from above, from a much more zoomed out position versus a tiny, tiny little human on a huge, huge flat plane with a light moving above you.
Bball, actually, do you think germs and stuff under the microscope see the light as we see it, as a way larger creature? They don't.
Why are we talking about germs now?
Yeah, just to bring to you that the idea of what we see is very relative to the size. It differ. Like as Gio said, for God, he will see something completely different from what we see. Maybe what we see is not the actual reality of like how things are really, where things are really at, or stuff like that nature. But it's only the interaction of light with whatever is there, of atmosphere, of domes, of anything that we don't know really, or we can't really figure out. So, but even with that said, we still can present a working model for that. So by saying this, you have to consider that it's not like only the globe supposedly, but also not 100% correctly, have a model, but also we can explain it as well. So you have to, I'm saying, like, get out of the box, start thinking, start analyzing stuff. So it's not only one truth that you have learned in school. No, there's alternatives to that.
Yeah, but I mean, you gotta understand, I can think about the flat Earth a million ways, and not one way does it seem logical at all. For all the ways that I've explained it, it doesn't seem logical.
It's kind of the same with the globe, then, huh? There's no curvature, everyone's stationary, all the constellations remain fixed and rotate, Polaris stays exactly where it is. I mean, what's logical about this globe?
Right. And for you to say that just shows you're not really thinking about it.
The only thing that makes the sense about the globe is the materialism. Material making itself with or without the word of God. It seems to be a general framework for atheism and materialism. That seems to be its main purpose. It seems to have had a function to unseat us from the center of the universe, obviously loved and placed there by God, to make room for occultism and man's vain philosophy. But maybe I'm wrong.
No, you're not, man.
I mean, why couldn't God just make? What's wrong with that?
It starts from the atheistic process, and 200, 300 years later, your society's destroyed.
Sorry, people, can you repeat? I did not hear what you said.
I said, why couldn't God just make a round Earth then?
Yeah.
He could have, but it doesn't look like he did. It looks like it's flat land covered by some sort of hemispheric dome. You look at the Navajo cosmology.
Again, with the dome, why would we need a dome if the vacuum of space doesn't exist?
There's a little bit of a vacuum below the dome, but like you say, above the firmament, there's no vacuum. Probably it's probably just limitless water, probably to keep out the waters of creation under the heavenly throne of God, according to the Hebrew cosmology, anyway, which I ascribe to.
Does anybody else
Lemon,
agree?
Yeah, I agree. As a Muslim, I recognize what's in the Quran and what's in the Bible to be the truth. So when God first created everything, there was water. So when God separated the water, we had a water above and water below. God spread the earth on the water below and made a dome to like keep out the water above. So so the original of everything is water, and you see how like very simple. So
really,
you have to understand
Mr. Islam.
the beginning of the creation according to God, not
Mr. Islam,
according to science.
really interesting,
So
though,
then
bro.
you will understand where we are coming from.
No, I get you, man. But as a Hindu, right, what's really interesting is that like Hindus didn't even take the concept of Earth as being the central point.
Really?
Life, right? Hindus actually believe that the cosmos.
Are you a Hindu? Are you a Hindu?
As a Hindu, that's how I started this conversation. Yeah.
Branch, you're no man. What are you telling lies for?
Yeah, exactly. This is
just
not
make
true.
No.
That's not true. All the scriptures, all the throughout history, civilizations agreed that and believed in Earth being flat, and the heaven being some kind of arc or a dome above them.
I'm sorry, but don't get what I just said twisted, yo. Yeah, I'm a Hindu, by the way.
Yeah. I have Muslims as well who believes that Earth is a globe, which is not true. So yeah, we have this kind of argument on our side as well, which is, as I said, not true. So you can't really use I'm a Hindu and this is why I'm true. No, that's not correct. I go back to the scripture.
I'm not saying it's not, dude.
Sorry, can you provide
that's not
us?
where it came from, my man.
Man, can you provide us
a decent conversation, yo.
from your scripture? Can you provide us anywhere? Does it say
dude,
it's a ball? Please,
my man. First of all, can you calm it down just a little bit?
Yeah, no, sorry. This is how I speak. This is how I speak. I'm not angry. I'm sorry if you get it that way. But like again, to my request, can you prove to us from your scripture that it's a globe? Go ahead.
From the scripture from Hindu scripture?
Yeah.
No, I can't prove that because I don't think Hindus believe it's a globe.
You're a Hindu, supposedly.
I think, Branch, what you're saying that it was centered in the center? What you're saying that in the Hindu scriptures the earth is at the
I think Hindus just believe that the cosmos is essentially what it is, right? A lot of Hindus actually believe is that your own place of being. The entire point of life is to find your own place of life. Outside of all this crap that we see, right? Life is to find your place in it, find enlightenment within yourself. So it basically puts the person at the center of the universe.
So again, what I said is true. So I said, no scripture say it's a globe, and I asked for a proof from your scripture. You said it doesn't say it's a globe. So are you let that sink in?
No, bro, I haven't read the fucking. I read a little bit. I read like a lot of it. I just don't think I read it into. There was when I read it, I didn't see anything particularly that actually spoke out and said, "Hey, birth." But then again, when I read it, I was pretty young, so that wasn't part of my mind thought. Are we referring to this as a globe or at Earth? Which is why it wasn't part of my, if you want. I wasn't. Did have a notion of saying this is the globe versus flat because I didn't give a fuck I didn't care back in those days.
Right, just now.
Yeah, man, you should go back and like study your scripture, bro. You know, new
Oh,
eyes, so to speak.
the thing is, man, after I read it, bro, the funniest thing, man, is that this no freaking rules. The entire scripture is just about, you know, live your life like this and just be a good person. If you're a good person, you're gonna feel better about yourself. That's essentially what the whole book's about. So it's just like, just be better about yourself. It's not about like if you're better, you're gonna go to God. It's nothing like that. As is, in order for you to feel better about yourself, you got to be a better person. It's almost like a psychological book.
Okay, which book is that one?
The Gita.
Bhagavad Gita.
It was, yeah, it's weird, dude. All right, so enough about that. But yeah, so
But
like
the ancient cosmologies appear to have in common flat land covered by some sort of hemispheric dome.
oh, there is one part of the Gita which does as a cosmos, and that we came from a cosmos. Which in some way negates the thought of a dome and being so special.
Okay, so Branch, are you saying in another word that the Big Bang is mentioned in your scripture?
Oh, I didn't say that. Did I say that?
I'm just asking. Is it like also similar? That is like because you know we have our scriptures like Quran, the Bible does not say anything about the false Big Bang and that fiction.
Oh.
So does your scripture say anything?
Just said no.
Exactly. So why are you adapting something that even your scripture doesn't believe in or doesn't preach?
Oh, okay. So
well, there's the Hindu depiction the Earth there. I just posted it in the live stream text.
Well, no,
that kind of looks like a dome.
One second. I don't really care what you just posted in the live chat.
Well,
but
it's your religion.
We're talking about my shit, right? So
That's your shit there. I just posted it.
No, I'm not talking about your
the
shit.
way,
I'm talking about
honestly, dude, the way that Hindus are supposed to believe.
Branch. Listen, I will not allow you as a religious someone. I will not allow you to disrespect any scripture. So please maintain respect.
You talking about you won't allow me to disrespect any scripture? Are you
Just
trying to
don't
say
do
I'm
it,
trying
dude.
to?
Don't do it.
Listen, bro.
It's just making
Show some manners, man.
What Hindus basically believe is simply this, right?
Dude, just show.
There's a reason why we're put on this planet. There's a reason why we're put on this cosmos. The way that Krishna told Arjun when he was describing it to him, he said, we live in a cosmos of infinite realms, right? So take that how you want to take that, right? And he's basically saying we live in a cosmos of infinite realms, but in this realm, you have this problem you got to get through, and that's kind of where the Gita started out, was like he's trying to tell this guy, hey, you got a big issue because basically he had to own family, right? And outside the entire cosmos, this is so minute that look, you got to understand how big cosmos actually is.
What's the cosmos?
Yeah, and how big is it?
What is the cosmos?
What is it?
Exactly, that was actually my next question. So I asked you about proof from a globe for a globe Earth from your scripture. There is none. About Big Bang, there is none. So what is the cosmos you are referring to all the time?
When at least it's not said by the word cosmos. I don't think. When I read the translation, I don't actually read the Indian words. It's written in Sanskrit, right? Everything gets translated a little bit differently, but the way I took it was he's talking about the universe.
Any more questions?
That's your first mistake.
I have a question for the military man. I've got a question.
Actually, if you actually go back and look at like the fundamentals of Hinduism is one of the
I just said I had a question by responding to a moderator asking if there are any questions.
You have a question. What's your question?
It's for the military man that said, or was it you? Someone said that why did God did not make a round earth?
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah. Have you asked him?
I did. He said he didn't. Don't be worried about
Did
silly
he ask the military guy? Did he ask God?
Yeah, I'm not asking you, Branch. I'm asking the one with a Bball4life.
Bball4life.
Did I ask God why he didn't create a round earth?
Yeah, I mean, why are you asking us? We didn't create the earth.
No, I'm just here trying to have a conversation.
Yeah, context-wise, he just asked his question, so that would be kind of a bad question given the context, unless he just got on his knees and, prayed to God. But God can make it however he pleases. The only thing is, God is further away in a ball Earth rocketing randomly through vacuum space versus, above the firmament, above the firmament, under the waters above, over a flat plane. That's more obviously created than a random ball.
Is that so obvious to you?
Very obvious.
No, actually, if you think about it and let it sink for a bit, what is a ball good for, other than wasting time playing with it, having some?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, this is why we have football, basketball, tennis ball, whatever, all that ball. But when we get to the purpose of life, to the most important thing in life, and we have science proving it, it's not a ball. So
where in science
you,
does it prove that we live on a flat Earth?
Laser test.
Yeah, you have laser tests,
So
like the Bedford Canal experiment, which is repeated like as a form of laser test nowadays, like tens of times. You have the science failing to prove curvature, right? This is also a good proof for flat Earth. You have the science failing to prove that Earth is really moving in any way, shape, or form. That's also a good argument for the flat Earth. And the list goes on, man. But you have to just if you are blind, you can't see the sun, so you have to open your eyes to see.
But all you just did was just say, "Oh, science doesn't prove." But where in science can I go? Can I go to a university? Can I go to a university and learn about flat Earth?
Yeah,
you can
learn applied science. Applied science, man. Everything that has to do with applied science, how things work on this plane, it takes into account a flat, motionless plane.
And
applied science. Airports to how the boats go, everything depends on a flat, motionless plane, man.
And where can I learn that at?
You can go to the university and learn about that, but you probably won't walk out with a doctrine.
Hey,
so you're not going to see curvature. You're not going to see curvature even thought about in anything when we build, when we fly. It's not applicable. It's not applied to anything.
So I can go to any.
Nothing, man.
So I can go to 10, 15, 20 scientists and they'll tell me the same thing.
It depends on when.
Scientist is not science now.
It
A
depends.
scientist is not science.
It depends
Right.
on when you ask them. These
who's-
scientists, some of them are very vested in Copernican atheism and the atheism that it
God,
engenders.
Lemonbird, please.
They may not be straight with you.
Lemon.
The Michelson-Morley experiment.
Yeah,
We're not
Michelson-Morley
moving.
has been
Now
debunked
they
many
lie
times.
with their words and say that it disproves the ether. Actually, it proves the ether, but it proves it's moving much slower than they anticipated because the Earth is not moving against it because the Earth is not moving. So they lied and cobbled together special relativity to salvage Copernicanism. The
He
ether's
did not
actual
ask. He did
existence and the
not ask.
fact that it proves that the Earth is not moving is backed up further by the Michelson-Gale Sagnac experiment and the Dayton Miller experiments that noted a consistent ether drift over the unmoving stationary Earth. You also have Aries failure, which failed to detect the ether, but also as a side consequence, a secondary consequence, failed to prove that the Earth was moving. So all of these experiments are pointing towards
Lemon again. Lemon.
You can Branch, I don't mind taking your questions, but your discussions tend to lead nowhere. So tread very carefully, or I may have to BTFO you. What do you want?
What does BTFO mean? What does BTFO
back
mean?
the F out.
Well, lemon. Just as a standpoint, right? On this, right? As lemon, when you go off on these tangents, you tend to lose the entire
question.
To stop not just what the conversation was about, but it ends up becoming all about you.
Well, you're not listening.
It gives you the full answer.
Well,
man.
we're not here to
Branch, I know you
If
ain't
you don't have
talking,
the
Branch.
attention span to hear it, then go somewhere else.
So everybody agrees with everything Lemonbird says.
Did you listen either?
Okay. Okay. So how?
Yeah, but you don't have.
How is Lemonbird a pillar of science?
I
does he
don't
get his
agree with what
information?
Lemonbird says. Why are we focusing on what he says? I don't agree with what he says.
Hey, Bball.
So if I want to
you need to
learn,
understand. Hey, brother, you need to understand the difference between repeating science, reapplying science, reusing science, and what those crabby people are saying. Like Neil deGrasse Tyson, where they don't really even apply the science, right?
Theoretical
They
science.
just exactly. So we here, as students of science, like myself, we reapply science, right?
And
so
you
when we do
reapply
that,
it and
when
put
we
it
do that,
to-
we see a flat Earth, a stationary Earth.
So you reapply science and you make it to where it makes it look flat. Is that what
No,
you're saying?
we use applied science. Things that you can prove, scientific method.
Oh,
that's what we use.
Okay,
We don't use theoretical science because that way, that's another way of saying you're just gonna make up some shit and then add some math in there, and then that's proof. That's not really science, man. That's theoretical science.
Even
The science that
space-time
we want
curvature.
applied science.
Even space-time curvature is incoherent. They talk about space-time curvature. What the hell is? Yeah, I mean, how does space-time curve? When have you ever seen space curve? I mean, the stuff that's in space is the ether, which they threw out to salvage Copernicanism, and the time that they're talking about that's curving.
Oh God, here we go again.
If you really want to say
the time that's curving is just the cesium.
Sciences, right? Seismology is a science within itself. Entire concept of seismology is the if you want the vibrations of out a globe Earth.
So when am I gonna have an earthquake? When am I gonna have an earthquake in my location, according to your science?
Well, obviously, earthquakes can't be predicted.
Oh,
you do know that, right?
Electrical activity.
You know that, right?
Electric Universe dude was predicting different activity, different solar flares, cosmic activity. I think he may have even predicted some earthquake activity, also using Electric Universe, kind of. So it may just be electrical, not necessarily this magma, land floating on magma or whatever. Maybe it's electrical.
Maybe.
Are you denying? Basically, what you're trying to say is all findings of seismology and how we can actually not just predict, but we can sense an earthquake that occurred, let's say in San Francisco, on the other side of the globe.
Okay, go ahead.
Before we even heard about the news, because we could feel the vibrations that go through the fucking earth.
So you're claiming science, but you cannot make a prediction.
He just told you.
Science.
Yeah, he just told me that he can't make a prediction, but he also told me that he uses science. So I'm standing a little bit confused now.
You can't predict earthquakes, but you can see the vibration, right?
Right.
And then you can go to another location on the earth and say, hey, there's an earthquake over here. You might want to brace yourself.
Yeah, right.
The fact you can even feel the earthquake. So, for example, the fact that when there's an earthquake in San Francisco, the globe that have very precise meters in the ground can actually detect that.
What does that prove?
It proves that those vibrations move through the core of the earth to those sensors.
How does it do that, man?
See, there we go. Denying science. There we go.
Science and denial is just not connected. It's just not connected. One thing doesn't follow after the other. So the premises cannot be assured. We need to be assured that the only conclusion you can make is that the Earth is this shape, which you can't do. Maybe it's flat and you have an earthquake too. Or maybe there's some sort of curved firmament that the waves are hitting. Who knows? While the land is flat.
So if it's flat, you've had 2,000 years to prove it, and if it's electrical, gravity, then what do we got?
Well, the thing is, when it's taken for granted, people get blindsided by people who come up with this ridiculous theory. I mean, it's like Hitler and them said, tell the lie and tell it often enough and it becomes true. People get blindsided. Like, you think the earth is round and people are hanging upside down in the down under? You know, that's ridiculous. They don't even give it a thought. People take this stuff seriously, and then they just get blindsided. And before you know it, you have the madhouse being run by the people in the insane asylum. So people just got blindsided, and finally, after 500 years of Copernican falsehood, they're waking up.
Hang on, hang on. I'm hanging upside down south now, and I can see the South Celestial Pole, which I'm pretty sure that you can't see.
What is the
Sure,
South
you can't see
Celestial
it.
Pole, man?
You can't see it, so why are you telling lies for, Jazza?
Oh, I
Sigma
can see the South
Octantis.
Celestial
No, you
Pole.
can't. No, Sigma Octantis. You can't see it. So what are you telling lies for?
I can
It's
see
a
it. Why don't
it's a rotating point in the sky.
Fly down
Right,
here
but
and
you can't see it.
Is that a fact?
It's rotating stars in the sky in the southern hemisphere. Because you can see it.
No, you can
anyone south of the equator can see it. If you're north of the equator, you can't see it.
Go and Google it for fuck's sake. Google's your god.
It's like the sun, right?
I'm sorry. Say again.
No, the stars go up and then they come back down on the horizon, right? Just like the sun.
No, they actually go around.
They rotate. They rotate around in a circle.
East to west.
Can you show me that?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you can go to my YouTube channel and you can see it. That I've done it myself.
You're talking about the star trails, right? The one you got to throw into a software before it comes out.
Nope, through my P900 that all you guys probably own.
Well, let me see it.
Go to my YouTube. Go to my YouTube. I can't post anything. I don't have permission for some reason.
Oh, okay.
Anyone can go to my YouTube. I took my P900, I pointed it to the north, put it on time lapse for about an hour, right? Then I turned it to the south, put it on time lapse.
Did you say north? Did you say north?
Where are you at?
Yes, I'm in Hawaii.
So you got the southern star trails?
You can't see, you can see where it's rotating, but you can't see the actual southern point.
That's what I said.
Okay.
It's amazing.
You're
in Hawaii, you're surrounded by water, you have a P900, and you're still this retarded. Really?
Now I'm a retard.
Whoever,
Did you
said
not
that
listen to what I listen to what I just said before you call me a
you do not
retard? Okay,
possess two
listen to what
IQ
I
points to rub together.
listen
You do
to what
not
I just said.
possess two IQ points to rub
Listen,
together,
hold on.
sir.
Let me finish. Listen to what I just said. I was in my backyard. Okay, are you following me? I point my camera to the north. Right. Hit time lapse. Bam. Rotating star point. Rotating star point. Right. Then
That's great.
point my camera to the south. Right, and I see the same rotating star point. You can't see the actual southern crust, but you can see where the stars rotate. Okay, you can't see. You can't see the actual point because I'm above the because I'm above the equator, so you can't see it.
I understand. So if the Earth is a ball, then we'll see two rotating star points. So you see two rotating star points, so the Earth's a ball, right?
Yeah.
Affirming the consequence because you can get two zones of rotation.
Because if the
from
Earth, I mean,
perspective.
can't you see that? If the Earth was flat, there'd only be one.
No,
Does anybody live?
You know what I see?
Do people live under the flat Earth to see the other one?
You know what I see?
Don't things sink and fall due to perspective?
Well, the thing is, if you're going to affirm the consequent like that, you need to do it properly. If you have two zones like that, then you need to draw a line straight through one pole to the other, and it should go straight through the center of the Earth. But when you see these photos, you do not see a line that goes through
It's not a photo.
center of the Earth.
Actually, it's a video.
Not antipodal. So
It's
at that point, they are not two nodal points that are actually at both sides of the globe. It's just a perspective
it was actually
phenomenon.
straight north.
Otherwise, you'd be able to draw a line from one star to the other, and it would go straight from the center of the Earth, which it does not. So it's just a perspective phenomenon. Probably for the South, if you walk toward it, it would probably open up and change perspective visual behavior as you get closer to it.
Well, no, actually, Lemon Bird, because at the equator you'd see a counter rotation of the stars, which you don't see, but you do see it in star rotation time.
A counter rotation.
Stars going one way, stars going the other. It's a fact.
Don't they go east to west?
Yeah, they'd be going different ways at the equator.
No, east to west that's the same everywhere, right? East to west. Maybe you're looking in a different direction. So your left
no,
and
not
right
in
is
the
different.
northern southern hemisphere.
Hold on, let me see if I can post my video. You're all crazy.
Heck, it even happens with the train tracks. You look to the right toward the train tracks, it approaches the horizon going up toward the right. You look to the left, it appears to be going up toward the left, upward toward the horizon. It looks to be a reverse reflection, but it's still going in the same way. It's just perspective.
Right.
How do I post
Lemon
things?
Bird, have you been to the southern hemisphere, or have any of you been to the southern hemisphere?
Yeah, I've been in the southern hemisphere.
So does the sky look completely different to you, or does it just look the same?
I wasn't paying attention. I was young and ready to go drink and party, so I didn't really look at the stars.
Oh yeah, no, I completely understand, but no, it does look completely different. So does.
Hey, where can I?
Because you're in a different place, man.
Stars go different ways.
Where can I post this video?
The west.
Live stream number 2 voice. It should be right above this voice chat.
Yeah, I'm not able to post anything.
Hold on, I'm trying to find your channel, man. What's your name? Bball?
Bball for life.
For life.
There it is. I just posted it.
Okay. I will repost it.
You know what? Since I'm able to post stuff now, let me go ahead and post the rest of my stuff here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Bball, you should be able to post now.
Because I actually do my own research.
Yeah, we do too.
Bball, you should be able to post now, man.
Earlier, you said you would not even check out what you were being given, so you're a liar.
Now I'm a liar because I won't watch flat Earth videos.
Yeah, that's right.
You won't, right?
Is that a flat Earth video, or is it just a video
Because
of
they're
reality?
because flat Earth videos are so funny.
So funny. The laser test that doesn't show any curvature. That's funny.
Who says they're flat Earth videos?
That's all you
These
got.
are just
One laser
videos.
test.
It's funny for y'all to try to rebut that. That's funny. Seeing y'all stumble and stutter.
I take it watching a documentary with NASA, and I take it that's really interesting and honest, and like, is that bang on? Is that what would you class NASA as being an honest sort of group of people?
Hell no.
No comment.
There you go.
By the way, Bball, something being funny doesn't mean it's false or true. So, by the way, the way I got to flat Earth is, I also thought it's funny when I saw a video titled, moon landing hoax. I thought, like, the 21st century, those people can't be real, but I still gave them a chance. You know what? I watched that video and I never believed in the moon landing after I did the research. So yeah, something being funny doesn't lead anyway. But but you have to check it, to as a decent,
That's a
fair
good point.
somebody.
It's funny because I don't know. I know flat Earth is fake because nobody was a flat earther before 2015. Nobody.
Are you
What are
serious?
you
No,
talking about?
man, I was flat earther for 10 years now or more. So yeah, speak
I've been
carefully.
5.
I don't know.
It became common in the West around 2015. There was a big resurgence there, but it's had little pockets here and there throughout history.
And why was that?
1900.
And why was that, Bloomberg?
Internet.
The awakening, the alien narrative fell apart. People had alien abductions ending when they called out the name of Jesus. So it revealed them to be nothing more than fallen angel deceivers, and people were really starting to wake up. It's just the awakening. The Illuminati came out that year doing a cult ritual in every award show, really, going after, the revealed religions in Christianity, gangbusters. And this appears to be the trump card to basically break that whole atheist edifice by bringing back people to faith in the creator.
But aside from that, dude, it raised some serious questions regardless of whether or not there were flat earthers or not. The very fact is these are questions that have bothered thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, possibly millions at this point, to the point to where we are now. So
Yeah, but you
simply
have
shrug your shoulders is showing a high degree of ignorance.
Yeah, but all you guys just learned about flat Earth from someone else.
There is no and but. That's how you learn anything, dude.
Yeah. So why? So the people that you learned flat Earth from, why are they credible?
This is how you learn anything. You look
man,
into
it's
it.
been through years of
Those
critical
with
thinking
everyday
and people putting their brains
experience,
together.
it looks flat. Sorry, I
Why
keep
are
on
those?
speaking over you. Where's
Why
that?
are those people credible? What makes
It's
those
not.
people
That's
credible?
not the point, though, man.
Don't
That is the
understand
point.
That's besides the point.
Bball.
I
Excuse me,
found
guys.
out that
Bball, do you
NASA was no
understand that?
longer credible. That's how I found out. I found out NASA were bullshitting, lying bastards for hundreds and hundreds of times.
Sorry.
And that was the only
Sorry, I
thing
have
that
to
held
follow.
me on a planet. It's the only proof I had that I lived on a ball flying through space. Is fucking
He
Excuse me,
keeps
guys.
jumping to credibility, which is besides
yeah.
the point, honestly.
That is the point. That is the point.
Bball,
critical thought
do you
Is NASA
understand?
credible?
Excuse
Who
me,
else
guys.
tells you that you're in space apart from
He's a
NASA?
lemming.
Excuse me, guys. Bball, do you understand that whatever those credible or uncredible people to you, we researched after them. It's not a blind belief. Do you understand that? Where on your side, it's a blind belief. So NASA said
Actually, no,
they
it's
went.
not.
Actually, it
It
is
is, bro.
because NASA
No,
said they
it's
went to
not.
the moon. You believe them. Did you research after NASA? No.
Sure, I did. I looked at all the pictures, all of them.
So you
So
think
if any
NASA's
one of those
honest?
pictures, if even one of those pictures are real, then yeah. And there's like
You're a fool,
15,000 of them, isn't there?
You mean fake?
That's like the
You
opposite of
lost
if
all
one
the
of them are fake.
footage, the
You
rocks.
should, that should make you think, man.
Yeah,
You
we.
haven't
All of them
even
might
done
be
your
fake.
homework if you're
He
saying
he
Yeah,
he,
I've
he
done
just
plenty of
lied.
homework.
He just lied to our faces by saying
Yeah,
that
I've
he
done
watched the
plenty
whole
of
picture.
homework.
He's an absolute
I've
fool.
done plenty of homework. Plenty.
Yeah, you've
No,
done
you've
plenty
done
of
no
Don't
homework.
sit here. Don't sit here and tell
You're a
me
bullshitter.
that I haven't done any
I sit here
homework.
and
You've
tell you
done
anything
zero
I don't.
homework.
You're
dude.
bullshit.
You guys come on
You're
here
ignorant to
and
the
all you
gills, my
do.
friend. You are
Hold on, I'm about
blind
to
as a
Bebo, I'm
bat.
about to tell you, man. Bebo, I'm about to tell you how I did it, man.
Okay, let's
People
go.
online were claiming they can see further than what they're supposed to, right? So I'm lucky enough. I live by the beach, and there's a whole lot of islands by me. So I went out there. There's an island 52 miles away. It's about 1,650 feet high, 52 miles away, 6 feet I'm supposed to only be able to see like 50 or 60 feet of that mountain, man. I can see all of it.
Where are you? Because I want, you know what? Because I want
The
to
island name is
research that same
Toshima.
thing. I
All
want
right,
to
that's
research that same
how
thing.
I came to it, man. My own eyes. You know, and then the arguments make sense. Of course, you can't have gas pressure without a container, right? Of course, I don't feel myself spinning. And then you just start looking into all the evidence and critiquing it, and they all fall apart, man. The fake NASA footage.
Let me
The
see.
fake
Let me see.
theoretical
Gas
science
pressure
footage.
without a container. Where did I hear that from? Quantum
Where
Eraser?
did you hear it from? From where?
Quantum Eraser?
What? So, cause someone else says it, that means
Quantum
it's
Yeah.
correct. What are you talking about? You're claiming stuff that other people have told you. So you're claiming NASA, you're claiming science, you're claiming astrophysicists. So these
all
people
the-
have told you all this shit. But
The
where do you
videos on my
where's the
channel are not
evidence?
from NASA. I have not gone to NASA. I have not said one thing about NASA.
Right,
all
so
the
what's your
videos on my
evidence?
channel I've done myself.
So where's
I
the
do all
evidence?
my own research.
Where's the evidence that there's space
zero
and that we're
research.
within it? Where's the proof that we're on a ball flying through space, apart from
Look
the
it up, man.
people who are showing you that
Look
we're
it
in
up
space?
and stop. Look it up and
Look
stop
up
listening to
where?
other flat earthers.
Look it up
No,
from
Bball.
where? Where else do
Bball.
you prove that we're in space? Where else do you prove that apart from the people that are saying they're in fucking space?
You got
What
it.
the
You
fuck?
got it.
Oh,
And if you just don't want to
Bball,
believe that, that's on you.
You're
No, no,
burned out,
Bball.
dude.
You're believing what you've been told. You're believing what you see.
Fake shit for you, right? I mean, space is bunk. What more do you need to know?
Just saying it doesn't make it fake though.
Well,
just saying it's fake
demonstrate
doesn't make it fake.
Prove it then. Mate. Just all you need to do is prove it.
So do we not have a pressure gradient?
What's that got to do with it? Show
The
a
higher
pressure
you go-
gradient, mate. Right, so show a pressure gradient within a vacuum.
This guy's a shill, dude.
Again, why would we need a dome? Why would we need a dome if there's no vacuum of space?
I never claimed a fucking dome.
So
I'm saying
that's
the
okay.
entire
So you guys don't even agree with each
bro,
other.
Listen, mate,
Is there a
because
dome or is not a dome?
But mate,
You guys don't even
everybody's
agree
got
with each
their
other.
own view. No, but everybody's
We
got their
already
own
went
view.
over
We're
this.
all
Exactly,
different people.
exactly.
We're not-
Nobody even agrees.
We
We're
are
not
not a
agreeing,
religion,
mate.
though.
Nobody knows how far the sun is. Nobody.
We are not a religion.
Bball,
We
Bball,
don't-
do
we
you
don't have to
believe
believe
every
the same
single
thing.
thing that science says? Do you believe every single thing that science puts out?
You can prove it for yourself, man.
I'm
You don't
saying,
have
I'm
to
asking
freaking
you a
believe
question,
anything.
bro. I'm asking you a question. Do you believe everything that science puts out?
If I can prove it myself, then yeah. If I can go out and
Right,
do the experiment
so
myself, then yeah.
right, so how do you prove that you can get this pressure gradient maintained inside a vacuum without containment? How do you prove that?
When you watch a rocket go up and you see the gas expand as it goes up,
What the fuck has that got to do with what I just asked you?
that just tells you that there's a pressure gradient.
You see a rocket going up, so that proves that the entire vacuum of space can completely envelop a bubble of gas.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see a rocket.
The gas that we
You-
have here on Earth, does it not have weight? Does it not have a weight
Mate,
to
what are
it?
you talking about? I never. What am I asking you? I'm saying to you, if the entire vacuum of space is enveloping a tiny speck, a tiny fragment of a bubble of gas,
Do you
come
not
on,
want to know
man.
what do you not know what a vacuum is? A vacuum is nothing. Okay? It doesn't
It's
suck
nothing.
anything.
Who
It's not a
says
Hoover
stop?
vacuum.
Who says dome?
It's not a Hoover
Who
vacuum.
says
It's not a
suck?
sky
No
vacuum.
one said
Who
that.
says
That
it?
dude. Stop with the straw man. It's
Straw
ridiculous.
man out your mind.
All he does. That's all he's good at.
I don't know why you guys are wasting your time on this chump. He's a fool.
He's a clear shill, full, everything above, anything below.
So Bball, this is your stuff. This is your stuff. Okay, look at this. The shadows, not the weird angles on the shadows, supposedly on the moon, which is the only possibility of that being real is being done. The source of the light being so close to the objects that are casting shadow. So yeah, this is your real stuff from NASA. Good job, man.
What are you talking about? Reading stuff from NASA?
No. Look at the picture that NASA claimed.
Wait, I'm not even looking. I can't see what you're talking about.
Live stream to voice text directly above the channel we are at.
Hold on.
How can you back up these people, man? Look at the state of it, man.
I think they just didn't really look into it, and they came in here
what,
thinking they're
the
gonna
little
wing it.
He's not even willing to look.
You're talking about the little picture you just posted?
Look how
I'm
stupid this
talking
gets.
about a picture from NASA. It's not about the size. It's a picture from NASA. So whether it's a NASA photo or not, it's a NASA photo. That's another argument. But so those shadows cannot be casted by the sun. So yeah, can you explain that?
How do you know it can't be casted? Have you tried to model
Yeah,
this?
because
Look at this guy.
Oh my
Have you
God.
tried to model this?
Yeah, of course. I can do it as we are
let me see.
speaking now.
So I want to see a video.
I put two objects in front of me. I bring my flashlight from the mobile. No, I can you can do it as we speak. So to get those angles, weird angles, you see how the lines interject at one point. Above that point is the source of the light, and that above that point the sun cannot be. So you have to be very intelligent, man, to understand that this is not the sun. So be careful. So you want to blind believe in anything, that's up to you, but we are here to talk about real stuff, about real science, applied science, so let's get real here, please.
Okay, let's get real.
And the thing is, we're just humble, citizens. We may not have the pedigree or the PhD or whatever, but some of these people are smart, but they may not be submitting to the truth. Say they're, materialists who, exalt their intellect above the truth. That's dangerous. And so it's going to take, common people to kind of check them, especially if the peer review apparatus is corrupted or whatever. Sometimes it takes, just a humble person to keep you honest, just in case the institution gets corrupted.
Yeah, and all these pictures that you see, man, they're all fake. And people have went through them and exposed the fakeness in them. Like I just posted a video, I put your name, I tagged you in it. You had mentioned the Himawari. All that is just data they collect and wrapped it around a ball, man. And you can go check it out for yourself, man. They give you the website to go to where exactly where they get the data, how they do it. It's not snapping a picture.
So how is it okay?
And it's not even necessary that they collect it, right? It can be data that they just invent. Data that comes from magic space machine tin cans that have cameras strapped on them by duct tape that is immune to X-rays, by the scorching sun. And they have you gulping all that down, line fisherman and boots like a fool. Come on, man.
Yeah, copy and pasting clouds. Give me a break. Even your boy Neil Armstrong, in his movie, you can go watch it, is quoted saying, in the movie, he's saying he was forced to live a Boy Scout fishbowl lie, forced by NASA to live a Boy Scout fishbowl lie.
Where's that?
In the movie, go watch it. It's a new movie.
Bball, can you
Operation Fishbowl?
Yeah,
Fishbowl,
Bball, can you tell,
Boy Scout lie.
Bball, can you tell from the faces of somebody that they are lying or telling the truth? Do you have that ability?
No, you can't. No, you can't.
Well,
so how can you tell that the person who told you about flat Earth wasn't lying to you either?
No, I was asking a question. If you said yes, then I follow up.
No,
with
you can't tell
question,
because people can have a straight face and lie to you.
Yeah, so we depend on empirical evidence. We shouldn't just take somebody's word for it, right?
Nobody's taking any, but you guys obviously took somebody's word for it that we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Okay, hey, if I tell you I got a Lamborghini, but I don't show it
I'd want to see a picture. I'd want to see a picture with you in it and a picture that you bought it.
I don't want to see a picture. I want to see it.
This guy's a clown, guys.
Hold on. Is that what it takes to prove to you that he has a Lamborghini? He's standing on the side of a Lamborghini
with a picture.
Yeah, you can.
Really? Is that your what you take for evidence?
Then I'd want to
believable.
Well, that's what the rappers do, and people.
I'd want to see his. I'd want to see your car note. I'd want to see, the evidence that you bought it, that you paid for it. and that shit you continue to
see
pay
me
for it.
in it, and yeah, you just don't want a picture, right? Anybody can do that. That's what we're coming at it with, man. We're not believing anybody. Okay, you tell me something, prove it.
Yeah, but y'all believed somebody that told you about flat Earth.
Bro.
That's the thing.
No. I didn't. Hold on, man. Like you brought up QE, right? He told you what? Gas pressure needs a container. I look around. Everything that has gas pressure has a container. So he's right. Right? You look it up. It says gas container. What you need? Volume. For volume, you need a container.
Does the gas have weight?
You don't realize
Do you know
people
the, I
in
mean,
here have
hold
called
on. Do you know the characteristics of gases?
Do gases have weight?
They have an
Are you
atomic
a
weight.
red herring?
I'm asking a question. Does gas have weight?
Are you a red herring?
Unicorns fart rainbows?
Does gas have weight?
Aye, they do.
Are you
Not,
a red
not
herring?
in his,
Yes or
not
no?
in
It's
his
a
gas.
yes or no question. You guys are smart, right? So you can
Hold
answer this
on.
question.
Well, I answer you.
You're
It's
so
not
condescending,
gas doesn't
man.
have weight on their gas.
Somebody's feeding him these questions.
He's got
Somebody's
a
feeding me. I'm sitting in my car.
Wasn't
got
he
a left.
talking to some like military guy earlier? Wasn't that
Gen-
heard?
What does that have? What does that have to do with anything?
You're in the
General.
military. Are you talking to someone in the military? Are you
General
working?
Ramjet. Roger Ramjet, I think
What does
it
that have
was.
to do with anything?
Are you in the Space Force?
No,
Holy
not in the
shit.
Space Force.
Guy might be
God.
a shill straight up.
Space Force.
Some moronic shill.
Bball. To be
Again,
to be honest with you, to be honest with you, the way you
do gases have weight? I'm gonna ask again.
sorry, the way
Or you a red herring?
interact with us, it doesn't really seem that you are working with your mind whatsoever. It seems that you are following a script of some kind. You are being paid to do this, or you are blindly believing in something.
So I have a
Very
question.
obvious.
What is the definition of weight as you apply it to?
Let's not answer a question with a question.
Well, because he's asking, does gas have weight? So I'm asking him if.
No, answer my question first, please.
Certain gases have different densities than other gases, such as oxygen and.
Right.
So what do you mean by weight? How do you define weight?
How gravity acts upon something. But I know you guys don't believe in gravity, so.
So when you say how gravity, do you mean how we observe the phenomenon known as the law of gravity, or are you talking about the causal effect of something called gravity by a different definition?
Something being pulled towards the center of the earth. Yes.
Things fall.
Yeah, so in that sense, I would say that I'm not aware that gases have weight by that definition of weight.
So gas doesn't have a weight. So it doesn't have.
By that definition of weight, correct.
Okay, so when you have different gases, when you have different gases and one gas is on top of the other, what makes that happen?
Density. Difference in density.
Okay, so density. Let's see. So how come a density column doesn't work in free fall?
Repeat the first part of that. How come a density what?
How come a density column? You know what a density column is?
You just answered your own question. They're in free fall.
How does it? Why does it? So what's missing when it's in free fall?
I'd have to repeat the experiment.
In free fall, it's flying up, down, in parabolic.
You know what? Let me
parabolic orbit.
Go ahead and link
to
it to
get
one of
that
my
free
videos
fall.
because it'll explain it to you.
It's in free fall, though, so the liquids are getting kinetic energy and momentum, and so if they're going up and down with those sudden, up and down stops, it's probably shaking and jarring the liquid too. So it may not necessarily be gravity; it may just be the momentum of the liquids making them mix with each other. Who knows?
Trying to find its equilibrium.
Because I can't find my brain.
When you have a density column and you drop it,
what does gas
what
do?
happens to the liquid?
What you mean?
What happens to the liquid when you drop a density column off a building?
What happens when you pour water out of your glass?
It falls to the ground. I mean,
exactly. Okay, it's trying to find its equilibrium.
When you have Okay, so obviously you guys don't know. So when you have a density column, right, and you drop it, let's say that density column has 3 or 4 different liquids in it, and depending on the density, those liquids are going to separate into their own densities, right? So when you drop a density column off a building or in something in free fall, all those liquids mix up together because there's no downward force.
Yeah, so if you have a density column and you say it's large, right? Like you have this huge container where you can slam your open palm all the way through it. Obviously, by introducing energy, by disturbing it, it is going to be disturbed and then have to regain its equilibrium.
Right.
It doesn't magically keep the equilibrium that it had once you drop it off a building. It needs to regain that equilibrium.
But why doesn't it work when you drop it though? What's missing?
It's the same thing if you were to say stick a chopstick in one of these density columns and stir it around. It's basically what you're doing. The force that you are applying causes it to become disturbed into, yeah.
There's no force when you drop. When you drop a density column, there is no force. So what are you talking about?
Well, the thing is, to be in motion like that, it has to rearrange into a movable package. When it's in rest in equilibrium, it can probably, settle on top of each other in nice little layers. But when it's in motion, it probably has, changed, characteristics. It's like a muddy, silt-filled flood water. But after the flood, settles down, you're going to get flood layers. But when the flood water is in motion, it's carrying silt, rock, debris, all mixed up, unstratified. But eventually it will settle.
So, for example, you could have muddy water going over the top of a waterfall. Why doesn't it immediately somehow separate and form a intermediary equilibrium state before it hits the water below or whatever, is down there? Right? We don't see this. It goes down in solution and then seeks equilibrium afterward.
Yeah, that's because once it hits the water, that now gravity is acting upon it.
Affirming the consequent. Gravity doesn't form things in the ball. Sure, stuff falls down. But what if it's a push from the ether? Tesla talked about ether vortex gravity and other alternatives to the current gravity model. Theoria apophasis talks about dielectric incoherent magnetism. So basically, coherent magnetism is the magnet in one little bar in one little location coherently all together. Incoherent magnetism is it's everywhere. And you just fall. The energy just goes out and I guess toward down or whatever by the right-hand rule. He talks about some electric universe stuff. But anyway, there may be another alternative. But the thing that makes gravity hard to believe in excessive is sure stuff falls down, but we don't see gravity form stuff into balls here on Earth in a testable way. And we don't see gravity cause orbits down here on Earth in a testable way. We do see it with electromagnetism, which implies that with electromagnetism, we should have absorbed gravity into electromagnetism long ago. And so gravity gravity may be inadequate. It looks like gravity is just there to explain why we're not flying off of a spinning ball. That's it.
That's it.
Yep.
They use it to try to explain the motion of the cosmos, of the heavenly bodies, man.
Yeah, and
there is no force of gravity. There's no cause.
People also, you have to be fair and analyze the entire thing from the beginning to the end. So when you have a stone, at the height of 1 meter, you release it, it drops. You have to remember that you have picked it up to the height of 1 meter. You spent energy, you applied force on it. So why ignoring that? And this is one aspect or one angle of the argument. The other argument is I have heard also people saying, where they create another force that things should float in the air if gravity does not exist. So all about fiction for them. So remember, when you pick up something from the ground and you release it, you have caused you applied energy when it fall down to the earth again, back to the normal position, that force disappeared. So if you can't understand that, man, and you want to stay with the fictional gravity, that's up to you. But like, this is how people analyze stuff at the beginning and the end, the entire thing.
Plus, the scientific, the science says that gravity is not a force nowadays, so you get with the.
Actually,
It
gravity.
hasn't been for a long time.
Gravity is very
I know.
strange.
I'm just mentioning it because he said gravity force, so it's not a force.
No,
I don't know what
I'm
he's
with you.
talking about.
Yeah,
No,
but
it's not.
also,
Let me guess. Let me guess where I heard that from before. Gee, I wonder who.
What are you talking about? Your own scientist?
Again. So now gravity's not a
scientist,
force.
you mean?
Where have I heard that gravity isn't a force?
This is pseudo-intellectual. Do you have any sort of intellectual analysis to offer? Because you're sounding smarmy and pseudo-intellectual.
Sleeping warrior, maybe?
Well, what about Einstein? Einstein is not a force according to Einstein's explanation of gravity and his
Einstein never said it
nonsense that he
wasn't a
came out
force.
with.
If
Well,
gravity were a
it's
force,
not.
we would
It's not a
notice it
force.
mass attracting mass on an equilibrium or level. So for instance, even if things couldn't go down, if the causal effect of gravity were true, you would see mass not falling down but simply going toward each other. Assuming that it could
I want to ask him a question.
Not when you have
Ball.
a planet underneath you, man. Come on.
That's special pleading, though, because we're not seeing it on the small level. That's special pleading, and it may be a lot.
Yeah, so for instance, at a microscopic level, you don't have the effects of, say, friction, especially with gases, right? And so if you had mass attracting mass, all you would have to do is create even a very weak vacuum and then put some mass in at either side, and then it would attract.
So you know what I'm about to ask you now, right?
Can I ask you a question, Ball?
You said that mass doesn't attract mass, so now you can probably guess what I'm about to ask you now.
Well, show me an example of mass attracting mass.
You can probably guess what I'm about to say.
The Cavendish experiment.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, we didn't heard that.
Experiment.
You know, it hasn't been replicated.
Yeah, it has actually.
And it's
it has.
in a vacuum.
So what's
In
your
a vacuum chamber.
They can barely get it to work, man.
Where is it?
No, it works.
Do you think
it's
repeated?
Ball? Do you think it's wrong for people to research different information and then pass it?
Absolutely not.
Among us?
Absolutely not. But when you just stick to one side after all the evidence has been given, I mean, it's kind of like you're just lying to yourself.
When
So
all right,
what did-
when we
what
say
did you
when we say
observe in Cavendish?
that I'm gonna be honest. I heard from Sleeping Warrior that gravity is not a force because I seen that that he's been reading a lot on it. All you have to do is go to your scientific community and give us citations and everything that says otherwise.
So here's the thing, and I've seen it so many times. Sleeping Warrior is not even credible at all.
We're not
like, how do you guys sit here?
Bro.
Hold on. I'm not done. I'm not
Warrior
done.
here.
That's some whole shit.
Are you speaking to Sleeping
How is
Warrior?
Sleeping Warrior even
Is he here?
credible when
Who's
he's
talking
been
about him?
known to lie about certain things?
Mate, you keep claiming all this shit, mate. Nobody's even saying.
So recently he had a whatever live show where he was talking about Einstein.
Bball,
And
you
everyone
brought
knows that Einstein letter was fake. And he cropped it just so it could make it look like it was real.
You talking about the one
What
he
has
did on
this
April
got to
Fool's
do
Day?
with anything?
You talking about the one on April Fool's Day?
By the way, gravity is a force, but in terms of
not
general relativity,
that was definitely not April Fool's Day. That was recently.
You sure? I've heard of this,
Yeah,
man. It was a
I'm
joke
sure.
It's not.
that somebody played.
Yeah,
but
it
go
definitely
ahead,
wasn't
man.
a joke.
Anyway, Sleeping Warrior is not a saint or a preacher
Well,
or a leader, man. It don't even
So
matter.
that's funny because I hear a lot of stuff that he says come out of
Nobody
these guys'
in
mouth.
all this shit was. I was in this before Sleeping
Was-
Warrior.
So nobody's
a lot of
allowed to
people
say. So what you're saying is nobody's allowed to say anything that another human being says.
But when you But when you cover stuff up and be dishonest, then how can you be
Who?
credible?
Like what? Like what?
What I just told you.
Like what? What have we covered up?
I just told you.
I never heard you. What have we covered up?
Well, explain to me, because this happened before I got here.
Live stream.
Wait a minute, man.
And he presented a letter stating
But
something
wait,
about
who
Einstein.
covered it up? This isn't us. What are you talking
And
about?
he covered
He's
it up.
not.
And
right, is that us? No. So didn't be crazy.
You guys quote him. You guys quote him.
Who's quoting him?
No, Bball, don't play that trick on us, please.
See, the thing is, mate, no everybody's the same person, and everybody's allowed to speak the English language just the same as the next person. So we're not copying him. We're destroying heliocentrism by the contradictions within it.
So,
and so if
gravity's
more
not
than
a
one
force.
person sees,
So
well, it's not.
gravity's not a force. Where'd that come from?
Gravity sure stuff goes down, but
Google
maybe it has
take a look in
push.
take a look in the live stream text just now. That's the Google definition of gravity. It's not a force.
And then also they define it now as a space-time curvature. They define gravity now as space-time curvature. They don't really define it as a Newtonian force because that would give it a specific location, which goes in the face of special relativity, where you're not really supposed to tell whether or not you're moving or something else is moving. But special relativity was basically to explain away the Michelson-Morley experiment, which showed that light was going slower against the ether and faster with the ether when it was split in the interferometer and recombined, giving you the interference pattern on the photographic plate. Because one slow light ray arrived after the faster one, and you got a fringe on the interference plate. But they didn't get the speeds that they calculated for a moving Earth. They got the speeds that were more consistent with a non-moving Earth of 6 kilometers per second versus like a faster moving one if the Earth were moving of 30 kilometers a second. So they just abolished the ether and came up with special relativity, saying that space is essentially contracting and expanding to meet the instruments, causing the light to appear to give you an interference pattern. And basically, special relativity says basically you can't tell if you're moving or I'm moving. It's just, total nonsense. And he recanted it later with general relativity, saying that really you can tell what the center is, possibly with the Earth possibly being at the center and the universe possibly going around the Earth. He said that could be a possibility with general relativity.
What you've said does not even remotely resemble what special and general relativity are.
Just because you said it.
No, actually, I agree with what Lemon is saying. So this is a very dirty trick from Einstein, just like to introduce confusion into science. Saying we don't really know anything, as simple as that.
Pretty much. You can pick any frame of reference. And Herbert Dingle talked about the problems with relativity in his book, Relativity Paradigm Under a Threat. Let me see if I can link the book. But also there was problems with even the Lorentz contraction, because when Lorentz was doing his experiments, he theorized that atoms of substances would tend to dissociate at higher speeds. So really it would be more like a Lorentz expansion as the matter expands with greater speeds and the molecular bonds, dissociate or whatever at greater speeds. It wouldn't be a contraction. So, they just cobbled up this stuff together to basically explain away the obvious implications of the light moving slower against the existing ether and faster with it. But to explain away the inconvenient results of the experiment showing that the Earth really wasn't moving.
Yeah, it was the Sagnac experiment too, also.
And also the Casimir effect. And the Casimir effect kind of can be reinterpreted with the ether in mind, because you have these very thin metal plates in a vacuum that are very close together, so close together that it's like a hair's breadth between them. It's not far enough apart for any real wave, gravity or otherwise to interact between them, and there's so little mass between these metal plates there can't be a gravity force or anything pulling them together, yet something in the vacuum via the Casimir effect appears to be pushing the plates together. And so that could be the ether. Maybe these vacuums are just purified ether full of energy. That helps, elegantly explain away the 0 point energy that you get in the vacuum that they mystically ascribe to something coming from nothing. Maybe it's not something coming from nothing. Maybe it's coming from the ether.
Lemon, I got a question. When you take a straw and you can put your finger over the top and it holds the water in just by doing that,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's almost like anti-gravity right there when you're doing that.
Yeah, it is.
It really is.
That means that is stronger than the infinite power of the vacuum of space. Your little finger over that straw.
No, that just means that you're holding the water back. The pressure can't get inside. That's all it is.
Yeah, but space can't do
Wait.
it.
First of all, there's no such thing as holding the water back. Physics doesn't suck.
Maybe the ether can't get to the water, and ether vortex it back down towards the earth or whatever.
I got another one. How about when my 11-year-old son just sucks up liquid out of a straw? Is he creating a vacuum stronger than the infinite vacuum of space?
Yeah,
He's overcoming the gravity.
Yeah, gravity's very weak.
Where the gravity is supposed to be the strongest.
Yeah, gravity's very
my
weak.
My 11-year-old son can defy it, but this infinite space vacuum cannot.
Gravity's very weak. So yeah.
That's a bunch of rubbish.
So how?
That's weak, but it holds trillions of tons of water to the Earth's surface. Simple.
Hey,
You'd have
guys,
to be simple to accept it.
Can we kick Branch, please?
He's doing his non sequitur comments again.
No, he violated the rules of the server. Look at this image. I will delete it.
I see an image with a lady with a red dress. Is it appropriate?
That's against the rules of the server.
Let's take this on down.
I deleted it, but
I wasn't done. Yeah, anyway.
I was personally enjoying that image.
Dang, I missed it.
So to make a point, I heard that Lemon gave a pretty concise summary, in my opinion, of this scientific discovery, so to speak, journey regarding, the tests to see if there is a medium that electromagnetism rides on and all that stuff. So to cut it short, I mean, you can see that for years and years and years, the experts that were looking into this were so uncertain whether it was the sky revolving over around the Earth or if it was the Earth rotating and such. So it seems that experts have been looking into that for years and years and years, centuries even, right? But suddenly, magic space machines go in orbit or whatever, and it's case closed.
Yeah, dancers. I think what I see the main problem is these people actually have more confidence in these scientists than they do in their own selves, man. These scientists haven't even made up their mind, but people will believe that the latest thing they shoot out is just 100% fact when these scientists can't even figure it out. That's just how they've gotten, supposedly.
Do you believe in doctors?
So what about all those people that were trying to figure out, the shape of the Earth and who is rotating around whom? I mean, weren't they also scientists? So what is it that makes you draw a line and say no? Whatever was before the 50s or the 60s, that's bullcrap. I'm not gonna accept those as scientists, but I'm still gonna quote and invoke science and point at the sky and declare and just trust that some agency went there and somehow men can, fly and travel there and get pictures and tell me what the place I exist in looks like. So that's mostly a question for you, Bball4life, because why do you ignore science, from the 60s and before, and on the same breath you say, oh yeah, science proved it, it's a ball and it's in vacuum. So don't you see a problem with that?
Do you not believe in doctors?
We believe in doctors, but when the doctors are caught lying to you,
Lemonbird, please don't. My goodness. So if you believe in doctors, right? So why wouldn't doctors be credible?
He just asked you a question. You don't even answer.
What kind of fallacy is that? That's a
Man, it's like fucking talk to a child, man.
Yeah, that's a red herring. That's affirmative. It's a red herring formal logical fallacy.
Oh God.
Yeah, we don't do that here, man.
Yeah, you can call God.
But yes, we believe doctors.
So, no, I'm gonna ask the question again. Are doctors credible?
Depends on what you mean by doctor. Do you mean
go to the
medical
doctor? Yes, medical doctors.
So how come medical doctors often provide different explanations for diagnoses or have a difference in opinion when it comes to diagnoses on very trivial things?
Sometimes they do.
Yeah. So how would you explain that?
Bball, have you heard of the what is it called? The experiment, the Tuskegee experiments. Have you heard of that?
Can you spell it, please? I haven't heard of it.
Man. Tuskegee.
Tuskegee.
Where they gave,
yes, I've
they
heard.
Gave American. Hold on now. They gave American, mainly, pretty much black people. They gave black people syphilis.
Excuse me.
For 30 years.
DM, please.
For 30 years. They admitted to doing this.
30
President Clinton came out and
years.
apologized for it. Only reason they stopped because they got caught.
And that's only what we know.
Right. So, I don't trust doctors 100%,
Okay, so if you go to a doctor and the doctor tells you that you're gonna have
Dipshit, 30 years.
You go to the doctor and the doctor tells you that you have cancer, and you don't believe him, right? Then you go to get a second opinion.
This is why you go and get a second opinion.
You go get a second opinion, exactly. Then that same doctor tells you the. Then that same doctor, you go to another doctor, and the doctor tells you the same thing. You have cancer. You have 6 months to live. You still don't believe him. Then you go to another doctor, and they tell you the same thing. Are you going to believe him eventually? After you've gone to 4, 5, 6 different doctors?
So the fallacy
You're away by titles, my friend. You keep referring to titles and authority.
What does that have to do with I forgot what we was talking about.
Just answer the question.
The vast majority of doctors.
Well, we were talking about that. The question of is the Earth moving or is the sky moving appears to be a very, very valid question that is extremely difficult to answer from experts for centuries with specialized equipment, all these bright minds coming together and all that. But suddenly, some chump sent some magic tin can space machine up, and okay, that's settled. Here's a picture. Back to your jobs now.
Was that some chump, or was that hundreds of people doing experiments all together?
Or if it's hundreds of people doing experiments.
You can't name one of them.
Yeah, exactly. My question. That's exactly what I was going to ask him. If it's hundreds and so many, why don't you name one?
How many's been to space? How many people's been to low Earth orbit? How many people do you think they've had to keep quiet? How many folks been to low Earth orbit? Supposedly.
Probably about 500 something.
Like less than 600. So all the rest of the people, it's all compartmentalized. They've all got these non-disclosure agreements. All these people are working in these big buildings for NASA. They don't know what the person next to them is working on. They're not allowed to speak about it.
Yeah.
So
if you go to school and you do good, you can be an astronaut. If you go to school and you do good, you can be an astronaut too.
You really can't.
What is the first instance where someone took a picture of all of the place that we live in? Like all of it in the frame of a photograph.
I don't think it's happened yet. It's never happened.
The blue marble.
According to Bball.
Blue marble?
Are you asking
60,
me?
70?
Well, so how come if you analyze the blue marble, why do you see the same cloud structure?
But it's okay. It's okay. He doesn't know. It's okay. He doesn't know.
I've heard that argument before. It's a composite image.
Yeah, Bball, you don't know. It's okay. I will tell you. So that was from the Apollo missions.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Copy and paste.
So if you're telling me, then what do you believe? So if you're telling me, you believe it?
I believe what?
Did you research?
Of course he didn't know it.
Bball, I didn't hear your question. Can you repeat it, please?
You said the blue marble photo, right? Is that the one you're talking about?
No. The first instance that I know of where a photograph of Earth was published, of the whole Earth, from allegedly space, right? From the outer darkness, or however you want to term it. Okay, that was from the Apollo missions. While they were on their way to the moon, they claim that they took enough physical distance from Earth to have all of the Earth inside the frame of one photograph.
Yeah, that's the blue marble photo. We're taken with the Hasselblad camera. Okay.
And you
well, as far as
it.
I know, the blue marble is a composite that was made. What was it? I think it was 2012.
The recent blue marble photo was a composite.
No, all of them are composites.
What was it, 2006 when they did the second blue marble photo?
Blue marble was in 1972.
Yeah, that's the same picture they used for the Himawari.
No.
But if you're asking about
you can actually look that up, bro. You can look that up.
Hey, but
on the moon.
The first
and
ever
it's
photo.
Smaller. So how is the moon? How is the Earth so small from the moon? Give me a break.
And by the way, blue marble wasn't the first photo from space of Earth.
No, it wasn't.
Lunar Orbiter.
No, it wasn't.
Look up the Lunar Orbiter 1.
Yeah, that was what, Apollo 10?
I don't know which number. It was in 66, not 72.
No, it was actually 1940. The first picture from space was actually 1940 something.
Oh, 47. Yep. Okay. Sorry.
You talking about the one they stitched together?
I guess we should.
A funny thing happened on the way to the moon.
Okay, I see that. We're thinking of two different things. Sorry.
Yeah, there's the picture from 47. There's the blue marble, and then there's the recent blue marble, which was a composite. Yep. You can literally go. You can watch Himawari every 10 minutes. New picture.
Bro, did you hear what I said about Himawari, man?
There's actually a guy.
Bball, you can go to a website and it has all the data for the Himawari. They use the blue marble. They use data from like different weather radars and all that, and they stitch it together, wrap it around a ball, and you can look all this stuff up.
So why is it that there's a guy down in Australia who literally goes out and correlates the weather with the Himawari?
Did you just hear what I just said?
What a bunch.
It's the same cloud formations that's in the sky as he's looking up, and he looks in the Himawari and he matches.
Bro, hey, watch that video that I tagged you in, man. It tells you everything. It tells you where to go to find the information. You can get it on the web, bro. You can go to a website. It's gonna show you where the data where all the shit they get all that shit from. It tells you where it's from. They use the blue marble. They use that.
So where does Australia get their weather from?
He doesn't care.
Where does Australia get their weather from?
Yeah, just a waste of breath with this guy.
Nah, it's good for people to hear how ridiculous he's being, man.
Where does Australia get their weather from?
I hope everybody's seen this. Everybody out there watching.
I hope so too. I hope so too.
Hey, Bball, I just posted it again, bro. There's a YouTuber called Paul on the Plane. He goes through all these NASA pictures.
Yeah, I know.
And they're all been tampered with, man. He goes through all of them.
So I want you to go to
take the
Wally's.
time and look through them. Don't believe him. He tells you where to go and find and how to do it. You can get the software yourself. You can get Photoshop software and look at these pictures yourself and find squares around the Earth and bullshit like that, man.
Just go to NASA.gov.
So now I want you to go.
Any of the images like Earthrise, go to NASA.gov and just download any of the images, Earthrise, and put them in photo forensics and look at them, and all the pictures of the Earth have all been pasted in. Every fucking one of them.
What's it called? Wally's Underworld, I think. Let me see.
This guy believes Hollywood.
Just go to NASA.gov and download some pictures and put it in Photoshop, mate. For God's
Space may
sake.
be a
You're,
final frontier, but it
you're
is made
sitting
in a Hollywood basement.
arguing.
Oh no, Wade's Underworld.
How can you argue, man? That's...
The question is, if they could take a single photo of Earth in 1967, why can't they anymore? Why does Robert Simmons have a job if they could take a single photo in 1967? I've just posted it in the group chat.
How we doing, Howard, man?
I'm good, man. I'm just at work, but I was hearing that and I thought, I've got that photo somewhere. That FTFE was throwing it at me, and I was like, what the fuck? I just found the image from his group. And that's the point. If they could take an image 40, 50 years ago, why a photo? Why do they need composite images now? It's stupid.
Well, would they take it from the rocket that's halfway to the moon right now, or is that not there right now?
And all the satellites.
Where are they at?
Supposedly one's past Saturn, but they can't turn around and take a photo.
Taking selfies as well, you know.
Yep, so they got selfies out of it, but they don't have cameras pointed at the Earth.
Bball, I just posted the website where they get all the information for the Himawari, brought to you by the Japanese Meteorological Agency. I mean, they don't even hide it from you. They just know you're not going to look into it. Because they're telling you the truth. All these pictures are just images.
I'm clicking on it right now.
Okay.
Okay, so you can see weather patterns on a globe. What about them?
And notice they call these images, man. These images are updated every hour from data provided by the Japan Meteorological Agency.
Exactly, and then they come from the Himawari.
Actually,
bro,
and they
where they get it from?
From the satellite, man. What do you think?
See, the JMA, you've got the WMO, you got SwellNet, you got the ECM, you got the United States National Weather Service.
So why do the clouds change then? If it's the same image.
Say that again?
Why are the clouds changing constantly if it's the same image?
Fairies.
They are getting them from the meteorological agency, bro. That's where they get
where are they
that
getting
information.
It from? And so when there's a hurricane,
ground sources.
Yeah, and then it's mapped on a ball. You know what mapping
on the blue
right?
marble.
It's called projection.
And when, like I said, when there's a hurricane, how do they?
Yeah, red herring. Okay, since you are military, but you said you are not Space Force, it's safe to assume that you don't go to space. Okay, is that a correct statement?
No, I don't go to. What are you talking about, man?
I'm talking about you do not get your ass into space. You don't do that.
You're not a spaceman.
Okay.
Well,
what does it have to do with anything?
So how do you know that stuff?
And how do you know?
That's my question.
And again,
where do you base all this?
How do you know the Earth is flat then?
Well, the thing is, it looks like what they're doing
claiming
is
everything's fake. This is fake. That's fake. Everyone's lying.
No, it's
where's your evidence?
unverifiable, man. And they admit themselves.
I'm looking at this Himawari website right here, and I'm looking at the clouds, and I'm looking at all the precipitation, all that stuff. Where do you think that comes from? That comes from the satellite. How do they know there's a hurricane coming if they can't see it?
Yeah,
is that what you think?
Floating in the sky, mate.
It's ground based, man.
That is super resin composite reflective technology. That's all.
Why would we need weather balloons if we had magical space satellites?
The thing is,
it's not real time, Bball. That's not real time. You know that, right? It takes a picture every 10 minutes.
It's every 10 minutes.
Why would they bother that?
So go back in 3 hours and watch. You'll see different clouds, and go back in another 3 hours.
Compositing. So what they're doing is they're taking the real data and wrapping it around a fake CGI globe. They're taking the real data from buoys, even from satellites, but the globe that they're wrapping around is the fake part.
Why would they spend so much money going up to space, spending all this money on rockets and trying to break out the Earth's atmosphere when they could just put high altitude drones, balloons, whatever, things that are running on solar power or whatever, man, and link them up and have them every however far they have to be? Why would they waste time and risk people's lives in the most dangerous environment supposedly that there is, where all these hundreds and hundreds of millions and billions that get spent every year when they could just put things up there flying?
Yeah, actually, this is another like a good another side of the question also. Like, what did really the space research, space science benefited humanity whatsoever?
Oh, it's cost a whole lot of money. Could have built a whole lot of schools.
How are you gonna
just
send
like
me?
name one,
How you gonna?
please. Like, what did really benefit us from space? Just
The
one.
geostationary server. How you gonna send me globe proof?
It gave us
As
Star
flat.
Trek, man.
It's
We've got
How you
Star
gonna
Trek
send me
next.
globe proof as flat Earth evidence? Come on
no,
now.
it's the perfect venture fund. They can raise money forever on space.
It's a jobs program, man.
So, someone
And as a
explained to me.
military man, you know that there is advantage in having the high ground, right? You can see further when you're higher. So that's definitely 100% practical, real life incentive to try to get as much altitude as possible.
Okay, so if I get, I'm not even gonna answer the question.
So go ahead, Wolfman. What did you say?
You said if I gain high ground.
No,
So
sorry,
if I'm in New York, right?
No.
And I go to
Yeah,
20,000, let's say 200 miles above the flat Earth, will I be able to see Antarctica?
From where?
Okay, the question I was going to pose was, can someone explain to me how air currents work on a flat Earth?
They blow.
Yeah, no. See, because what I've learned is that the wind directions are generated from the Coriolis effect of a spinning globe.
Yep.
I thought
the effect from the ether over the unmoving flat Earth.
I thought in the heliocentric model, the air moved with the Earth.
Wait, what about the air?
But it's also being heated by the sun at the same time, and this is generating because the mountain ranges on land masses also create.
When do you see the air being heated by the sun? That would mean
the sun's
higher.
shining.
That would mean in higher altitudes it would be hotter, surely.
No, the higher you go, the colder it gets.
Exactly. So
This is the result of the greenhouse.
But the sun radiates. It hits like ground,
And
stone.
depending on higher and low pressure air systems, frontline systems, and the jet stream, typically
So
the higher you go,
the sun's not heating the air, is it?
Yes, the sun is actually heating the air, but the air is being retained by.
No, that's incorrect. Can you demonstrate the sun heating transparent air, please? Thank you.
It's radiation. It's no conduction, is it?
Exactly, it's radiation, not conduction.
Right, so it's not heating the air.
Is that the sound of you scratching your head?
No, I'm not scratching my head.
No, that was his head scratching his hand.
Although this is like that was from I think Bball. You sound strange sounds coming from your mic or from.
Maybe having a breakdown. He's run out of questions.
So, how does wind patterns generated on a flat, non-moving Earth?
I don't know what. I can't hear you, man.
Perfectly willing to say that I don't know, but I don't think that you know either.
How is what?
He's saying how do weather patterns and wind, how are they caused? How do they emerge? And I'm telling him that I don't know. And
it generally follows the sun. The ocean currents appear to follow the sun, and the wind appears to generally follow the sun as it circles over the flat plane. I'd even go a little mystical and say that there's probably 4 angels blowing the wind into the thing to keep it ventilated. 4 angels, 4 trade winds. Seems like a pretty decent coincidence to me.
Weather is caused by vertical and horizontal heat transportation patterns.
Is that for Google?
To easily say it, high and low pressure systems, heat, create weather.
Right.
That's fine to materialism. It's inadequate.
Is that synonymous with the shape of the Earth?
Where would that heat come from?
Whenever
where would that heat come from?
Whenever a pressure system becomes unstable, weather is then.
Is that prove the shape of the Earth?
Air pressure without a container. There you go.
Okay, then in that case, then how is it that the heat distribution from the sun is different depending on your latitude on the Earth?
Yeah, Wolfman, because we believe in a small localized sun, which is orbiting between the tropical of Cancer and tropical of
Capricorn.
Capricorn. And it's like it's about most of like people who done the triangulation to measure the height of the sun was about like 3,000 miles approximately. So it's localized sun, small, close to the Earth. So the further you go away from it, of course the more angle the light of the sun come out.
Okay.
Okay. So why doesn't it get hotter as we go up near the sun then? If it's so close.
Oh, it's radiation, like what we just said.
Yeah, that was answered by the radiation.
By your first question.
If I travel toward the sun on a flat Earth, if it's 3,000 miles, how come it doesn't get hotter?
That's the same question again.
Air to transfer the heat toward the top, it probably gets pretty evacuated, but toward the Earth, it's probably more concentrated air with more concentrated or more easily felt heat transfer.
Yeah, how come when the Earth is closest to the sun, it doesn't get hotter? In your model,
the Earth doesn't get closer to the sun.
We have an atmosphere.
See what I'm saying? Yes, it does. Millions of miles closer, man. For wintertime for North America, the sun is the closest to the. The Earth is the closest to the sun. You know that, right?
No, that's not how it works.
Yeah, the tilt and the electrical orbit.
You're actually pretty wrong. Free mind just go you on that, bro. That's how that works in your model. Sorry.
Millions.
In the heliocentric model,
you might want to study up on your model a little bit more.
Yeah, okay, let's backtrack it.
Okay, there, guy.
So model game up.
Yeah, so
Good morning.
So in the heliocentric model, does the Earth orbit in a circle around the sun, or does it orbit in some other way?
I would say a slight ellipse.
Yeah, but then you would be wrong.
Based on the findings of Copernicus.
It's an ellipse. It's not a circle.
That's what I said, a slight ellipse.
Not slight.
So the distance changes, doesn't it?
Oh, so you guys know a lot about the model. Then it works so well.
We know both models. Yeah.
Yeah, I told you we're gonna school you about Earth, and then we're gonna school you about the solar system, and that is gonna be in your religion.
You don't know about your own model.
You tell me about the flat Earth.
That's a little
That's
weird.
what I.
So
there's a difference between what you think you know and what is actual factual.
I want to hear about the
tautology. I like to make claims.
Flat Earth model.
How come?
I know about my.
Well, if you know about your model, then how come on your elliptical orbit? How come we don't feel any speed variation?
because the Earth is massive and you wouldn't feel it, and also a thing called conservation of momentum.
Right,
Conservation of momentum, huh?
Easily said, physics.
We're moving in 4 separate directions at like multiples of millions of miles an hour.
Yeah, I've heard that argument before many times.
That's no, that's an argument. That's your model.
Going
Well, that's your.
spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. All that's irrelevant, man.
It's irrelevant.
Yeah, it's all irrelevant.
All of that is irrelevant.
Man, it's just irrelevant. Just because he said it, that's it. It's irrelevant. Shut the server down. That's it.
You just took the ill loss right there about all of that's irrelevant.
The thing is, we're getting into special pleading because now we can't feel it, despite the fact that you can get in a car at 20 miles an hour and feel it very much, but you're feeling nothing in the vacuum of space, quote unquote,
Hey,
with
Bball, can you fix your
the
mic?
spin of the Earth, with being dragged by the sun, with the uneven elliptical orbit that is thousands of miles of orders of magnitude. That's not consistent.
Lemonberg. If you get in a car and you drive at 60 miles an hour, you feel the bumps in the road. You don't feel the speed.
You feel the acceleration, man.
And
Yeah,
deceleration.
of course you feel acceleration, but once you stop accelerating, you don't feel anything.
Right, but that's it's on an elliptical orbit.
And decelerating?
I'm sorry, say again?
No, I said is Earth is it accelerating and decelerating?